Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen. Then we are ready for round 11. Round 11, I think it is, of the 100% League. Blimey, we are halfway through the 100% League as well then, so looking pretty good so far. Unfortunately, a couple of drivers then joining us in qualifying, so we'll be waiting to get them into the lobby before the timer ticks down then for the end of qualifying, but we can get ourselves started for the rest of the field and crack on then with the Hungaroring, and let's see what we can do then here in Hungary, of course, then, which is famous for the Hungaroring, of course. There is a nice water park somewhere across the in the distance then. I think you can see it in the background there, but yes, unfortunately we won't be visiting there. Well, we might be visiting there depending on how wet the weather can get, but we'll find out as we get moving on then into the into the qualifying for the Grand Prix first, goodness me, and then into the Grand Prix itself. 70 laps around this very short but very twisty circuit indeed, then very technical circuit this one, so we'll have to see how the drivers are going to fare in Hungary then tonight as we get ourselves ready then to start off the qualifying session as well. And loading in now, good stuff indeed, ready to get cracking here in the Hungaroring, of course. And there we go then, good stuff for the 17 drivers that have joined. Unfortunately, there's 3 drivers that are going to be joining in qualifying, so there we go. They can get themselves sorted and get themselves into the lobby as quickly as possible, and we can crack on then with the next event then for the 100% League, of course, the halfway point of their season. And of course, this is a preview then for gold, silver and bronze, which is coming up to Hungary then in the next few days also here in ALR. Then good luck to all then as we get ourselves started, and I will get the stream up as well then so I can see what's going on then, and a bit of a race replay then for me. It's only a few seconds behind, but there we go. Hopefully we can get ourselves loaded in at some point today, and we can crack on then with the session itself. And there we go, good stuff indeed, and we can now crack on finally, I think. Yes, we are ready to go finally. Good stuff indeed. Right then, there is the parish notices, I suppose you could say, out of the way. Looks nice and sunny here for qualifying, at least in Hungary, which is promising. So fingers crossed it stays that way for the race. I'm sure the drivers will be hoping that it stays that way for the race themselves, but we will wait and see. Of course, it's a long race in terms of time, so potentially there could be some changeable conditions then afoot then in the 70 laps then to take on after the 17.5 minutes left of qualifying here. But we will find that out, of course, then in due course, as we've got some people coming out of the garages are ready to get raring for qualifying in this session as well. So welcome along then, welcome to Casper Gilling, which of course is a legend in the Hasta, I should say. Then he has said it's rain at the start of the race then, so that's great stuff indeed. So fantastic, already dampening our spirits then with some rain at the start of the race then for this Grand Prix then, but it looks nice and sunny for qualifying at least, which I suppose is slightly bonus, a slight bonus I should say then, as Sickers Muck then is taking us around the second turn then into turn 3 then in the Ferrari, of course, then heading up towards turn 4 and 5, which are very treacherous turns indeed, especially at race pace as well then. So we'll have to find out what they're going to be doing to tackle these curbs, tackle these corners as well then. Like I said, a technical circuit, a technical challenge then for the drivers tonight then here in Hungary. Brilliant stuff indeed. Then only 3 drivers out on track then, Ginner, Sickers Muck and Equaz, sorry, nearly called him Equaz then. It's a bit of a, well, I'm not quite sure which way to pronounce it to be fair, but I've just called him Equaz every time I've said his name, so he seems to be alright with that, thankfully. But now into the last sector then for Sickers Muck then on his outlap, the first outlap then of the session. He will complete this and then set off on a flying lap as well around the Hungaroring to set ourselves a precedent, and then to set ourselves a time sheet on the board, or time on the board of the time leaderboards, that is, then, so we can see what we can aim for, what we're going to be trying to knock off the top spot then, as Sickers Muck then starts off his lap then flying down the main straight, then DRS activated down this part of the circuit, and then on the exit of turn 1 here, as we go down towards turn 2 as well then. Brilliant stuff indeed then for Sickers Muck then, looking nice and comfortable in the Ferrari tonight then into turn 2, and now going to challenge then into the more technical part of the circuit where it gets a bit twisty and turny then after turn 3. Williams there getting out the way then, very nicely done indeed, as we head up the hill then towards turn 4. Of course, Purple in sector 1 then. Here's the first man to set a time in sector 1 then, a competitive hot lap time that is, as we go through turn 5 as well then. Can get caught out on the inside curve there. That's going to be treacherous indeed for some around the drivers, especially in the Grand Prix race then, and through the chicane once again of turn 6 and 7, then very nicely done indeed into turn 8, then flicking the back end out slightly there in the Ferrari, then turn 9 then completed as well, then into turn 10 now, and turn 11 then completes sector 2 as we fly over the crest of the hill and down towards sector 3, then purple of course once again in sector 2 then as we go into turn 12, and then we've got turns 13 and 14 coming up then to finish off the lap as well then for the Ferrari. Let's see what we can do then into the penultimate corner then, nicely done indeed, and now tackling the final corner of the circuit then, challenging that curve then to try and do anything to the Ferrari, but thankfully he hasn't done anything, and it's a 15.992 to set ourselves underway here in qualifying then for the Ferrari of sick as muck then. Good stuff indeed. And we've got Ginner then. Ginner is on circuit, but actually Equaz has done a 15.1 then, puts himself into P1, but here comes Ginner in the Mercedes, and what's it going to be? It's a 15.2 then, puts himself behind the Williams car. Then Equaz done a very good lap indeed then, because Ginner has been not shy of qualifying very high up the order in the previous rounds of this season so far. So good stuff indeed. ALR on top says Ashy as well then. Good welcome back to Ashy, of course, who is in the comment section, of course. Hopefully one day he'll be back racing as well. We have asked him, but he hasn't come back yet. So there we go. So one day he'll come back, hopefully. Vessia then just finishing off a lap. Then we've got R2 Beat then, who's further along into the final couple of corners then for last week's race winner. And he wasn't the race winner, but he has been the race winner then in the previous 3 rounds before that. And up to the line for R2 Beat is a 16.0. Then where is Vessia going to cross the line? Then it's up to P3 then for Vessia with a 15.9, and displaces sick as muck then down to P4. Then still on the second row of the grid then for the Ferrari, where the Alpine takes away that P3 position. Then for the time being, that is, there is still times to tumble in here in qualifying then, and hopefully some people to get themselves woken up then to join us in qualifying as well. But there we go then. Vintage then coming round to finish off a lap, I think, but he's actually going to go again, I believe. We've had Coupe jump up the order then to P4, then Legend up into P3 then with in the Haas then. Good stuff indeed. Then Vintage does a 16.7, but it looks like he's going again then in the Red Bull then for another outing around this circuit as well. Then Kiki is coming around the final corner. He's got a nice little toe then from a Ferrari, it looks like, then up into P2, then onto the front row of the grid there with a 15.2 as well. Then he is about a 10th away then from Equaz's time as it stands for pole position. So looking good indeed for Kiki in the Racing Bull. And actually, you said one day. So I'm looking forward to that one day. Hopefully, he'll join tomorrow. So good stuff indeed. Then, yeah, of course, welcome back. Then, whenever you are ready, then Ashley, then we'll have open arms then for the Ashley Barry. Then, of course, remember him from he raced in cobalt, he raced in bronze, he raced in silver. I don't think he raced in gold, but maybe you can just jump in for a reserve race for gold then and complete the set. Then, as R2 Beat starts off another lap, then Vintage is coming through sector 2 to finish off sector 2. Then, and has he improved? Not quite. Then in sector 2 he is almost 3/10 down on this time, unfortunately, which is not good stuff indeed for the Red Bull driver. He wants to go a bit faster than that. Then into sector 3 goes Asperjon. Then he's reserving in place of Kamara Racer, who's on holiday tonight then in the other Racing Bull, I should say, and he has got himself a challenge then to get himself into the top 10 as it stands then through into the final corner then for the Racing Bull. Charging Bull then round the final corner. Then let's see what he can do then. Can he improve then into the top 10? No, he can't, unfortunately. So he stays P11, and he has improved on that time, I think, then, but unfortunately not enough then to gain him a position or two. Then Sick as Muck's having a bit of an issue trying to get himself back in the pit lane, it looks like. Gamer has jumped up to P4, then displacing his teammate Legend, then down to P5, then Gamer onto the second row of the grid, then ahead of his teammate, then behind Ginner, behind Kiki, and behind Equaz, who are the top 3 as it stands as well out here. Brilliant stuff indeed. And Vintage is back out on that. Then Vintage going back through into turn 6 and 7 through the chicane. Then very nicely done indeed. Then very negotiated very well indeed then for the Red Bull driver then. But again, losing the back end slightly then, coming out of 8 and 9. And trying to keep that car pointed in the right direction is paramount through here as we go through into sector 3. Then this time he's 2/10 up on his previous time. Then that wouldn't improve his position there, but it would improve his position in terms of cementing that place in the top 10 as it stands as we go through into the penultimate corner now for the Red Bull, and flying through into the final corner now as well then, and finishing off the lap then for his second outing in qualifying here for Vintage. Let's see what he can do then up to the line. Then it's a 16.4. Then he's improved by 2.5 tenths, almost then puts himself, well, stays P10 I should say, but he has improved to keep that gap then to Astrojon then, who is currently in P11 then with a 16.7. Gordo is flying through into the penultimate corner now as well. He's on the hard compound tyres, though, it looks like, so that's going to be an interesting call then. What can he do then on those hard compound tyres? I'm not quite sure they're the best qualifying tyre. Ginger Rage has gone up to P10, and here comes Gordo then up into P13 with the 17-1. Then Ginger Rage then into the top 10 and with a 16-1. Brilliant stuff indeed then from the McLaren driver, then looking quite strong out there in the McLaren tonight then. Good stuff indeed then. Rocket Lee then reserving in the Alpine is just starting off another lap as well. Then yellow flags all over the place then as yeah, I think that was a Aston Martin getting out of the way then of Gordo. Into the pits comes R2B. Then Ginner is back out on a lap as well. Let's see what Ginner can do then into Sector 3 very shortly. Then let's see what his Sector 2 time saying as well then as we cross into Sector 3 now. And it is 1.5 tenths up on his previous time. That would displace Kiki. That might displace R2B. Can it displace Equaz then from that pole position? Then let's see for Ginner then as he comes round the penultimate corner now to finish off his second attempt here in qualifying in the Mercedes. Now into the final corner then. Can he keep those 2 tenths gained to get himself onto pole position here in Hungary? Then round the final corner, then up to the line for Ginner. Let's see what it's going to be. It's P3. And unfortunately, he lost a bit of time then in Sector 3. Then he's only gained 80 thousandths of a second over the previous 1.5 tenths that he had gained in Sector 2 then. So unfortunately, not enough then for Ginner in the final sector. And he puts himself up into P3 then, displacing Kiki. But could have gone a bit further, I think, then. Interesting stuff indeed. Very good stuff indeed. That as we've got Ginger Rage back out on circuit again, then goodness me. Watch out then, all drivers then. Make sure you get yourself out of the way of this charging McLaren then heading in towards turn 1 then. Very nicely done indeed for Ginger Rage. And now on the power as I think Kaz has joined us in the other Ferrari. And now into turn 2 then for Ginger Rage and sliding that car through the corner. Very nicely done indeed and keeping it in control. And cool, calm and collected is definitely not the words you want to describe Sean Meek, but he is some of those today, I suppose, hopefully. 74 thousandths of a second up on his previous time, then that will put him into the ranges then of a Sicker's Muck's time, potentially. Equaz has gone faster with a 14.8, then sorry, Equaz, I missed it completely. But there we go, then Sirius Russian has jumped up to P6, then goodness me, I'm watching the other McLaren of Ginger Rage, because he is going to be either going to be spectacular or very unspectacular, but we want to see which one it is. And so far, it's looking pretty spectacular so far into Sector 2, and now into Sector 3 as well. Then what's it going to be? Unfortunately, he's lost a bit of time in Sector 2, but can he make that back up then into Sector 3? We'll find out now then in the last couple of corners then for the pink helmet of Ginger Rage and in the orange car. Like I said, it's horrible clash of colours indeed. Terrible stuff indeed for Sean Meek. They're not coordinating his helmet design with his car livery then, but up to the line then for Sean, and it is a 16.3 then. Unfortunately, it does not improve on his time. Stays P11 for the time being as well. Then Rocket Lee is back out on circuit, looking to improve on a 27.2, which I'm thinking pretty much can then quite easily as well. We've seen Rocket Lee then done some brilliant times in qualifying in bronze. Let's see what he can do here tonight then in his second attempt then up to the line for Rocket Lee. What's it going to be? It's a 15.9, puts himself P9 then in the Alpine, ahead of his teammate Vess here by about 0.5 tenth of a second as well, not far away between the Alpine pair. Brilliant stuff indeed. Then Ginger Age down to P12 unfortunately because of that. So unfortunately he's going to have to try and do his best then to get himself back into the top 10. Then Cooper's back out on a lap and then coming through turn 5. Who is further along the lap though? That is the question. I think it's Ginner, as Equaz comes back in the pit lane. So yes, Ginner then into Sector 3 then. Let's see what Ginner can do. Can he compete with the top 2 now as well? He's displaced Kiki down to P4. Can he get himself further up the order then? Can he pass R2B in the Aston Martin? Can he pass Equaz in the Williams for pole position in qualifying, that is? But we'll come around the final corner to find out now. He's got a bit wide then, but he hasn't invalidated his time. Then he has not improved on his time, unfortunately, as Kiki as well has invalidated his time there into the chicane system of Sector 2. Then here comes Coop the Soup. Oh, Coop as in soup, sorry, not Coop the Soup. Goodness me, I'm gonna get thrown some soup out, I think. Here comes Coop then up to the line. Then Coop then has done a 15.5 by 2 tenths of a second, improves, and then up to P6 then for the Williams driver. Then good stuff indeed. Then Rocket Lee's having a bit of a detour in the Alpine, then cruising around the Sector 2 sight lines and scenery as well. Then good stuff for him. Kiki, I think, has saved up enough fuel and saved up enough ERS to go again then on this set of tyres. So he's going to go powering down that main straight. There is his teammate in front of us as we go down the main straight to start off another lap then for the Racing Bull driver. Gordo has said bonjour and good luck all then. Rain in the race, by the way, says Gordo. So there we are then. 2 drivers now confirmed it then. Unfortunately for Kiki then, losing the back end through turn 1. That's going to be costly indeed and might have cost him a few tenths of a second as well then into turn 2 as we head down the hill now for the Racing Bull car then heading into the, well, I think he's abandoned his time then, unfortunately, has Kiki. So has Coop as well then. Sick as muck then heading through the chicane then in Sector 2 then, looking good indeed then, has kept it all together then very nicely for the Ferrari. Can he get himself in in the top 10. He only needs to find, what is that? That's only 9 thousandths of a second then between himself and Vess here as it stands. So he needs to find about 10 thousandths of a second to get himself up into P10. But he might be doing better than that. 61 thousandths of a second then for the Ferrari driver into sector 3. And let's see what he can do then in the final couple of corners. And can he improve even further? Then can he get himself cemented into that top 10 in this final few minutes of qualifying shootout here as well? So far, so good. Then here he comes then up to line then for Sikkersmuck. Then what's it going to be? It's a 15-4. Puts himself P5 then in the Ferrari. Brilliant stuff indeed. And what an improvement in Sector 3 then for the Ferrari driver as well. Fantastic stuff indeed. Legend then back out on a lap, then coming through into turn 5 here. And he is looking to improve then on the current P9 position. Astrojon is back out on circuit. Then he's improved then to P13 with a 16-4. Then Vintage back out on circuit as well. Then coming through the final corner. Then let's see what the Red Bull driver can do then here in Hungary then tonight. Up to the line then. What's it going to be? P12 then for Vintage into the 15s with a 15.997 then for the Red Bull driver. They're good stuff indeed. Goodness me, I'm losing my voice already. And we've only just started qualifying, so that's fantastic. Right then, Legend is almost 3 tenths up on his previous time. That would put him into the range of P5. Potentially could go for P4 onto the second row of the grid. Potentially even further if he can improve more in Sector 3 as well. Then up to the line for Legend. Then what's it going to be? It's a 15-2. Puts himself P4 then ahead of Keychains and onto the second row of the grid. Then good stuff indeed. Then Sikkersmuck is coming back to the pit lane, I think, there. So he's decided to abandon that time. Then Vintage is coming back to the pits as well. Then he's just finished that flying lap as well then for the Red Bull car. Astrojon then is coming through into Sector 3 now as well. Then let's see what the Racing Bull can do in the final laps here of qualifying. Was 1.6 up, says Gordo and Spun. So that's not ideal. Then Astrojon is back in the pit lane. Gordo is 1.6 seconds up. That would have put him on a 15.5, which would have been roughly around P8, then P9 or P10. Well, no, 15 or P8 or P9, I should say. Then goodness me. So that would have been just inside the points paying positions then for Gordo if he could have completed that lap. That is, but unfortunately not then on that case. But he's still got time to go back out there and go again in this qualifying session. Then Mushroom is back out there and back going again, and he is currently P9 then looking at a 15.5 for the current McLaren time. But let's see what he can do then in this final attempt of qualifying. I don't think he's going to have time to come back round again unless he's got enough fuel and the ERS saved to go straight away then, instead of coming back into the pit lane. That is coming through turn 5. Very nicely done indeed then for Mushroom, heading into turn 6 and 7, the chicane, and looking very spot on then for the McLaren driver as well, then showing Sean how to do it then in the other McLaren. Brilliant stuff indeed, and that's what he needs. Teach him a lesson then, serious Mushroom, and give him a spanking as well then. Goodness me. Right then, into Sector 3 then. Mushroom 0.2 of a second up. That would put him very well up the order then into the top 6, I should say, as it stands. Let's see what he can do then in the final sector. Can he get even more then? Can he get even further up the order then for the McLaren driver into the final corner now? As once again, I think they both got pink helmets and have the McLarens, which is terrible stuff indeed. Just uncoordinated. As they head up to the line then, it's a 15-1 for Mushroom. Puts himself on the front row of the grid. A fantastic time indeed for Mushroom. Then takes away that front row from R2 Beat, who is back out on circuit now on an outlap then. But Mushroom then looking pretty impressive here in Hungary tonight then, and looking very strong indeed then for a high finish then in qualifying, that is, where potentially can lead them on into the race as well then. I think Ginger Age was 0.8 of a second up there. Let's see what the Ginger Age can do then into McLaren up to the line. Ginger Age is P3 then. Goodness me. Oh my goodness, what's happening at the McLaren garage? I think they've started to put the upgrades on those cars, haven't they now? And Ginger Age then takes P3 as it stands then with a fantastic lap time. I think that was almost a second improvement on his previous lap, because he was in the 16s before. He's now got a 15-1 to his name then, and that is brilliant stuff indeed for both McLaren drivers then, improving to 15-1s. And yes, my God, I think Sean's going to be very dizzy about that one. I would be. So yes, very well done indeed. But yes, we'll come back to that. Of course, there is some drivers out there looking to improve on their times. Then 0.2 of a second. Then the gap between Ginger Age in P3 and R2 Beat in P4. Then and R2 Beat looking to start off another lap now as well. Then as we go over the start finish line, 1 minute left of the qualifying session here. Pit lane in for Serious Mushroom. He is done and dusted in qualifying P2 at best in this session. Then for the lead McLaren driver, of course. because Ginger Age is definitely not the lead McLaren driver. Let's just put it that way. But he's done a great job so far, which is all we can say. But yes, congratulations to Ginger Age. If he can hold on to that P3, then I'm sure he'll be very happy with that one. Then, as we got a few other drivers then coming through into the final few laps then of qualifying, final few corners of qualifying, that, and unfortunately for Rocket Lee, and validating then into sector 3. Vest here then coming through into turn 5. Then we're going to try and find who are we going to try and find? We've got both of the Hasses then starting off their laps as well. Gordo, I think, is in that fight as well. No, he's not. Gordo is on. No, he's not got on a lap as well. Unfortunately for Gordo, he's going to start off a lap here as well. So that's that. Then Ferrari then of Sick as Muck then to start off a lap 2, as we've got a race. No, it's not a racing bull. It's the Ginger Asian back in the pit lane. Then for Ginger Asian, he is done and dusted in qualifying P3 as it stands. Then brilliant stuff indeed. Whereas the other Ferrari then, it is Don of the Dons, and unfortunately for Reflection and Hungry Styles, no time on the board then. And into the final corner then for Don of the Dons, then up to the line. Let's see what his first and only time is going to be in qualifying. It's a 16.7, puts himself P15 ahead of Gordo, who is still on a lap though. Hungry Styles and Reflection are done in qualifying here. R2B is abandoned his time. He's back in the pit lane. He's done and dusted. Then P4 at best then for him. Unfortunately then for the Aston Martin, who's won quite a few races in recent times, and of course has got himself on the podium then in the last 4 races, I think. Coop back in the pit lane as well then. Where is his teammate then of Equaz, and where is Equaz going to go then? Jinner has got himself up into P3, displacing Ginger Age down to P4. Then Equaz, can he improve even more? Not quite then. He stays in pole position with a 14.816, and he's got himself the only driver so far in the 14s, but not so quite. Kiki then takes away that pole position on the final lap then with a fantastic 14.7 then. Gamer has jumped up to P8, then he's improved then to a 15.3. Then here comes Legend then up to P3, then displacing the McLarens in, and down to P4 goes Mushroom. Then he's still on the second row of the grid, and Legend takes the third spot, I should say. Gordo has jumped up to P9 as well. They're brilliant stuff indeed, and I think that's qualifying done and dusted. Apart from Astra John then, who is coming round who's coming in the pit lane, so that is him done and dusted as well. Then here in qualifying tonight then. Brilliant stuff indeed. Well, there we go. That is qualifying finished. And that is brilliant stuff from all the 18 drivers who did 16 drivers who did a qualifying lap. Unfortunately for Reflection and Hungry Styles, then they didn't even get themselves started. But there we go then. That is the Hungary Grand Prix qualifying complete. Kiki is your pole sitter then in the Racing Bull with a 14.755 then. Down in the 14.8s, well, not really down in the 14.8s, but down to the 14.8s is Equaz in P2, 15.0 for Legend in P3, then 15.1 for both the McLarens in P4 and P5. Being split then by the Mercedes of Gina then in P5, and R2 beat P7 as well then. So it's going to be very tied to the top, it looks like then, for the opening stint of this Grand Prix. We will have to wait and see how it's going to unfold and who's going to pick the right strategy here as well then. I hope the race is called off then, because I want to keep my P6 as says Ginger Age. And yes, there we are then. Unfortunately, we've got to get ourselves underway now quickly indeed into the Grand Prix itself then. Lobby host perks as well then. Of course, Ginger Age is doing a great job as well as qualifying very high up. He's done a very good job of hosting the lobby for this this event, of course, with Farth missing in action. Well, he's actually got an event to deal with. But there we go then. I'm expecting a podium now, says Gordo, so he's now lumped it all on Ginger Age to get himself a podium, which means that Ginger Age is going to crash out on lap 1. But brilliant stuff indeed. We'll have a quick word from our lovely sponsors, and we'll be back ready for the Grand Prix itself. Well, it's a bit wet. Let's just say that. It looks like it's going to be heavy wet conditions then to start off the Grand Prix here. We've been told in the comment section it's going to be wet to a dry race as somebody with a very large appendage has gone past my window in their vehicle. Yes, so interesting stuff indeed. Then a wet to dry race, then how quickly it's going to dry out is the next question. Then is it going to be all the way through the race to the last few laps then, or is it going to be only a few laps before we get ourselves into the dry compounds as well? Then we're waiting to see, but we can't actually get ourselves there because the drivers are still trying to select their strategies and maybe having a bit of a cup of tea then before they sort themselves out then to start off the 70 laps then of the Hungarian Grand Prix, sorry. Yes, I go on, says Gordo then, so good stuff indeed then. Right, we are ready to get ourselves going, hopefully, very soon, but at the moment we're just looking at the pit lane, which definitely looks a bit soaked as it stands. Puddles starting to form then on that pit lane as well then, as yes, we are ready to get ourselves started here. And as far as I imagine, it's going to be wet compound tyres then for everybody. Intermediate compound tyres for Gordo, so that's interesting stuff indeed for Gordo. Could that be a masterstroke then for the Aston Martin driver then? That might be brilliant, actually, indeed. We'll have to wait and see how quickly it starts to dry up then, but it looks like heavy wet rain as it stands to start off this Grand Prix as well. So Gordo might start to struggle then in the first few laps then, but if it starts to dry out quickly, it could be in the money then for the Aston Martin team, and we're not having to make a pit stop then onto the intermediate compound tyres. So we'll have to wait and see who's going to, if it's going to play out then for the Aston Martin. Everybody else has started on the wet compound tyres, and that is what they're going to be choosing then to start off this race then. It looks like it's very much the right compound tyre to start this race on, as we got the Minecraft spray back again. There we are. Good stuff. Right then, unfortunately not much to talk about on the formation lap because everyone's on the wet compound tyres apart from one driver, and that is Gordo then. Can the Aston Martin pull a masterstroke then and pull off the perfect strategy then going straight to the intermediate compound tyres even in the full wet conditions for this race start? Then we will wait and see. It looks like it's saying it's going to be wet and then wet again then for the strategies then, as equal strategies then for both those stops. Yes, interesting stuff indeed. We'll find out then as we get through the race itself. Firstly, Kiki has got himself through the formation lap then, and it seems like he's struggling out there. Nonetheless, that is, well, there we go. As we just got to try and keep ourselves on the grey stuff, especially in these conditions, it is going to be very difficult indeed around this circuit then. Right then, we are ready to get racing in very short-term moments of time then, as Kiki trying to get himself onto the grid, sideways, it looks like more likely, but there we go. As Equaz then coming around the final corner as well then, down the back of the order with Reflection and Hungry Stars, no time on the board then for these two. Unfortunately, in qualifying that is, but we'll have to see what they can do then in the race itself as we get ourselves into the grid slots then to start off 70 laps then of this Hungarian Grand Prix. And it looks like it's going to be a bit of a wet start, let's just say that. Right then. So far, so good then, as we get the drivers then lined up on the grid then to start off this race. Then 5 red lights will be on very shortly, hopefully, and we can get ourselves underway then. As here we are, I think we are. Yes, we are. 5 red lights coming on now. I can't see the 5 red lights, unfortunately. Yes, we are. They're good. Good stuff indeed. Equaz is still warming up his tyres, even though the 5 red lights are on then here in Hungary, and the 5 red lights are out, and away we go. Then a good start then from Equaz. Where's the camera angle? There we go. Good start then from Equaz. We still have this camera angle, then goodness me, we'll switch it over to position changes as well quickly as we head into turn 1 now. Then down the hill, Equaz has got the inside then on Kiki. Then he's taken the pole position, he's taken the lead of the Grand Prix into turn 1. Then Legend trying to fight along then with the Racing Bull into turn 2 and go around the outside here as well. Then there's position changes all over the place, and there's Mushroom and Gordo are battling, and Gordo's up to 6th place then. Gordo on the intermediate compound tyres is flying actually. He's gained 3 places then on the intermediate, so that's a masterstroke indeed, and if he can hold on to it as we go up the hill then towards turn 4. And I think Gordo might have made a fantastic decision here, putting those intermediate compound tyres, and we'll have to wait and see then into the next few laps or so that everyone's got themselves through unscathed, it looks like then, thankfully, it seems, so far, which is good. Promising stuff indeed. Unfortunately, Ginger Age and Mushroom have both lost 3 places then on the start. Then the McLaren's not having a good start, similar to Lando Norris in real life, that is, as X-Gamer has got himself up into P10, passing Rocket Lee then into the chicane system of Sector 2. Then good stuff indeed so far then throughout the gaps then, unfortunately, for Kiki. He's lost out 1.3 seconds to Equaz, who's sprinting off into the distance and in the race lead now in the Williams car. Maybe he's got a wet setup on that Williams car that's really performing to the maximum in these horrible conditions. But potentially, if it starts to dry out, I should say, then like we've been told in the comment section, then potentially that could come back to those who have been battling then as well. Then R2Beat has passed Ginner then up into P4 then for R2Beat. Then Ginner then back down to P5 where he started the Grand Prix. Then both of the McLarens are struggling out there. Mushrooms lost another place to Coupe then as well, as Equaz then sets the fastest lap of the race so far. Of course, the first lap now complete. Good stuff indeed. What a start indeed then. Everyone seems to have got themselves through unscathed, which is fantastic. And so far so good then. Vessier and Don of the Dons are battling then into turn 1. Then Don of the Dons going down the inside of the Alpine, and now on the outside then Vessier's got the inside heading into turn 2 then, but Vessier's got the traction then and back ahead into P14 before turn 2 and takes the spot back then from the Ferrari driver as well. Then good stuff indeed out in front. Then the gap 1.7 seconds then, but the gaps everywhere else very close in proximity, and this is could be dangerous indeed of course as well if they're going to be going through into these type corners then. Very close proximity as well. Then Ginner and R2Beat almost touching then into turn 4 and 5, on the exit of turn 4 then into turn 5. Then unfortunately that might have unsettled the Mercedes as well. Then R2Beat's almost lost a second then to the top 3, and Legend then is putting the pressure on Kiki as we go through into sector 2 as well now once again then on lap 2 here, which comes after lap 1. If you didn't know. Quick maths that is, but goodness me, it looks like we've got a train forming here between Gordo and Ginner, and Ginner's really struggling in this sector 2 then in these wet conditions, and R2B's gone wide then into sector 3. That might be a warning then for the Aston Martin then, who's currently in P4 gaining 3 places, and Ginner has held station then in P5. Gordo has gained 3 places on the intermediate compound tyres. We'll switch over to the tyre situation because that is quite interesting, as one driver then on the intermediate compound tyres, Gordo then from P9 on the grid has gained 3 places and looking quite competitive here on the intermediate compound tyres as it stands as well. So not too shabby indeed then for the Aston Martin of Gordo as he heads down towards turn 1. Can he mount a move then on the Mercedes of Ginner then into turn 1? Not quite yet, as we go through onto lap 3 here as well. Then Equaz then holds the lead, 1.8 seconds the gap then to Kiki then, who's under pressure from R2Beat, from Legend then into turn 2. Then R2Beat 1.2 seconds back then from the top 3, and under pressure from Ginner then and his teammate Gordo and the rest of the field pretty much then all the way down to Ginger Age then, who's now being caught by Gamer into turn 3 as well. Then Gamer might be putting the pressure on then for that P9 position then very shortly on the McLaren driver, who's holding on to the points paying positions very nicely indeed so far as we go through into turn 4 once again. Then Rocket Lee then trying to hold off Sick as muck then, and Astra John has joined the fight as well then, as has Vessier. Don of the Dons has dropped back a bit then, he's now got a fight with Reflection on his hands. Both the Red Bulls unfortunately are struggling out there in these wet conditions. And into turn 5 then, Vintage going very deep then on the brakes as well then into that turn as well then, goodness me. And good stuff indeed for Equaz, and he's charging off in the distance. And Kiki then having a bit of trouble with that back end then, trying to keep it under control then, it looks like, for the Racing Bull, and unfortunately that is costing him a lot of time then going through, especially in sector 2, to the Williams driver, who's flying off in the distance. Maybe has a bit more downforce then on that Williams car that is really promoting him through in sector 2, especially then where it's a lot more technical rather than straight line speed, as we can see then into the main straight then to start off lap 4 very shortly. Brilliant stuff from Equaz as we cross over to lap 4 now. Equaz sets the fastest lap of the race then, 33.7 then, so the time's still there in the wet condition then, but Gordo has just done a 33.7 as well. Then he's on the intermediate compound tyres. Then he started on the intermediate compound tyres as a master stroke. Can he get himself a move then down the inside at turn 1 then on the Mercedes of Ginner? It looks like he's going to go for it. He's still trying then, is Gordo, but he's not quite there then just yet. Then he has to sit behind for the time being then. Stays P6 for him then. Gamer has got himself past Ginger Age and up into P9. Then Ginger Age dropping down to P10 as it stands. Then he's got a 3 second gap now back to Rocket Lee. So there's quite a buffer then between the top 10 and the rest of the field as it stands then, at this point of the moment, that is, because of course Gamer's got himself a nice gap then to Serious Mushroom as well, who's trying to hold on then to the top 7 for the time being as well here. Gordon then is still putting the pressure all over Ginner then in the Aston Martin. Then I think the intermediate compound tyres, it doesn't look like it's intermediate conditions just yet. Then it still looks very heavy rain out there, but it seems like those intermediate compound tyres are doing just as fine a job, that is, as the wet compound tyres then in these horrible full wet conditions. So that is promising stuff indeed for Gordo, especially if the rain is meant to abate later on in this race. Then when that will be, we're not sure, but we know it's coming then at some point in this race. We've heard it's coming at some point in this race, but we don't know when exactly. So there we go. So that's that then. Into the penultimate corner, there's contact then from Gordo as he's hit the back of the Mercedes then. And heading into the final corner now as well then. Gordon needs to make sure that he doesn't damage his front wing then on those that are probably going to be a bit slower than him on the wet compound tyres compared to the intermediate compound tyres, especially if these conditions are changing into his favour already. Then Gamer sets the fastest lap of the race. Then Rocket Lee is in the pit lane as his Reflection as well. Then could these be intermediate compound tyres going on the cars now? It looks like it's started to get a bit lighter in terms of the rainfall. But what we're going to see then on the Mercedes car then as we go into the pit lane is intermediate compound tyres. So it is intermediate compound tyres are the best tyre now, it looks like, as we head into turn 3 for Gordo and Jinner side by side through there. Then thankfully making sure that there was no contact between the two of them, heading up the hill then towards turn 4, and Gordo has got himself ahead into P5. Brilliant stuff indeed. And now Coop and Jinner are challenging into turn 5. They're going side by side through turn 5. It's not an overtaking position, or not an overtaking place there, but Coop is going to go for it. No, he's not. Then he stays behind. But I thought he was going to go for it. But there we are then. Gordo's got himself up into P5 now. Intermediate compound tyres seem to be working off very well indeed. Then gained 3 places in the first lap then, and he's been holding on to the wet tyre runners, that is, goodness me, into the first few laps then as well. And now we're seeing a bit of a change, I think, here for the intermediate compound tyres as R2P and Legend are battling side by side. Goodness me, what is going on there between the two of them? They've ghosted inside of each other now as Legend has dropped back. God, yeah, not quite sure what's happening then to Legend. Then he seems to be having a bit of a desync issue then as into the pits, I think he's coming then. So he's calling it a day then on the wet compound tyres as well. And same for Geeky, who is coming in the pit lane now. Equus sets the fastest lap of the race, trying to scamper off in the distance. And there's the Williams car. Gordo now all of the back of his teammate then looking to get himself up into P2 here on those intermediate compound tyres that he used from the start of this race. And down the inside at turn 1 then Gordo has got the position now, I think. Has he? Yes, he has then, and he's up into P2 then. Brilliant stuff indeed then. And Gordo now scampering away then. Of course, he's not going to have to pit for intermediate compound tyres unless it carries on raining at this pace. For a foreseeable future, that is. But we were told that it's going to dry out then, so potentially Gordo can go from the intermediate compound tyres straight to the dry compound, whereas those who started on the wet compound tyres will have to pit for inters now, or in the next few laps or so. And then wait for the dries as well then. So it could be working out very nicely in Gordo's favour. He's 4 seconds off the lead as it stands, but of course Equaz on the wet compound tyres, unless he can take the wet compounds then to the dry track and switch onto the dry tyres then at that point, then without switching to the intermediate compound tyres at all, then he will be able to get himself back on the same strategy as Gordo effectively. But he might lose a lot of time then, especially if the intermediate compound tyres are the better tyre now, and it looks like they are then, because he's gaining into Sector 3 then. He's gained 0.4 of a second in Sector 2 then, has Gordo alone, and looking pretty good then on those intermediate compound tyres now is the Aston Martin driver. Then this could be a fantastic call then after choosing to start, the only driver to choose to start on the intermediate compound tyres. It's similar to it's esque of a Lewis Hamilton then, who unfortunately got the decision the opposite way around, didn't he? He started on the intermediate compound tyres when the track was dry, and everybody else went into the pit lane then for that restart. Gordo then takes the lead. He's got the fastest lap as well then as he crosses on to lap 7. And looking quite good indeed. There is still quite a few then who have stayed out then on the wet compound tyres. Equaz then into the pits for intermediate compounds as well. Serious Mushroom then pitting as well for the intermediates. Ginger Rage is on wet compound tyres again then, so unfortunately it's not gone his way. And I think he's coming back in the pit lane again. And unfortunately for Ginger Rage, he's going to go back to back to the pit lane once again then, because he's pitted for the wrong tyre. Then of course, as the famous Murray Walker once said, then you have to be on the right tyre at the right time in Formula 1. And unfortunately, those on the wet compound tyre, I don't think, are on the right tyre at this time. At the right tyre. Yes, exactly. They're not on the right tyre at this time. So that's all I say, really, isn't it? That's it. As Dun of the Dons has been passed by Equaz, then Equaz on the fresh intermediate compound tyres is up to P6 already. Then he's got quite a sizable gap then to the leader. Let's have a look and see what it is. Then it's 17 seconds then to the race leader of Gordo, but he's got 6 lap younger tyres as well. Then Gordo will be hoping that in this next few laps or so, then potentially when the wet compound tyre runners are pitted as well, the for inters, that it starts to dry up completely then, and we can get ourselves onto the dry compound tyres before Gordo's tyres start to wear out then and overheat. But so far, so good then. Kiki and Don of the Dons then. Oh, goodness me, what's happening there then? In the background, that's Jinner then almost losing control of the car, then going through in Sector 2. And I think very eagerly trying to get himself after the Ferrari as we head down towards Sector 3 here as well. Then on the brakes then, and the Mercedes have gone through already then, as Gordo sets the fastest lap of the race once again. Then R2B staying out once again. Same for Coop, same for Gamer, same for Astra John as well. I think, no, he is, yes, he is staying out. And unfortunately, I don't think they're on the right tyre now. Same for Don of the Dons as well. Then he's up into P9, I should say then, but unfortunately he's going to be caught up very quickly indeed then by those on the intermediate compound tyres, I would imagine that is. Jinner sets the fastest lap of the race then. Good stuff indeed. 29.7 then. The time's tumbling down as the track dries out slightly as well here. Down into turn 1 then. Legend looking for the move then on the Ferrari, then down the inside. He's got the position then up into P9. Goodness me, I ran out of breath. So that's that then. Good stuff indeed. Yellow flags. Yellow flags for an Aston Martin. It's a Gordo. Gordo's had an issue then at turn 5. Then he's off the circuit then as well. He's trying to get himself back underway there, but he's going to be passed by the top 3 now. Gamer's taking himself back up into the podium places then. Brilliant stuff indeed. Gordo with a mistake then has lost out a lot of time then, unfortunately for the Aston Martin. And I thought Kamo was ghosting them, but he wasn't. But he's lost a lot of time then for the Aston Martin. And goodness me, I thought he was going to go side by side with Gamer through there as well then, which is definitely not an overtaking position. But yes, there we are then. Heading into Sector 3 now as well. Then Gordo then trying to put the pressure on the Haas as we go into the final couple of quarters. And Gordo trying to regain that composure as well, then trying to get himself back into contention then for the race lead. Of course, he's on the intermediate compound tyre, which we can see already now is the better tyre. But still, the top 3 are not going to come in the pit lane just yet. Then they don't want to get rid of those wet compound tyres as it stands then as we cross into lap 9 now. And there we go then. I think, oh dear, Gordo then trying to cool down the tyres then. I think Gamer then trying to defend the position at the same time as we head down towards turn 1. Then late on the brakes then for Gordo then down the inside into turn 1 then. And of course, with the extra grip then, he's got a lot of extra braking speed. But unfortunately, I think Gamer's coming back at it then, and Gordo's going to have to fight to hold on to this position. Then into turn 2, he's got the position then up into P3 and back up into the podium places then. Good stuff indeed. Right then, fantastic. Then Gamer then dropping down to P4 then, but Gamer is holding out on the wet compound tyres for now, as we've got quite a few then. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 then still on the wet compound tyre. Everybody else has switched to the intermediate compound tyre then. Fantastic stuff so far in this Grand Prix. Like I said, it's been a chaotic start then with the wet conditions, and Vessier has got himself a fastest lap of the race. Unfortunately, we're not quite sure why Vessier is down the back of the field though, but yes, he is nevertheless then down the back of the field and trying to catch up. Then he's got himself the fastest lap then, so he is going to go for it. And we're going to see what they're going to be doing then in this next part of the race as well. Then track is definitely drying out then, but is it going to dry out quickly enough then for the mediums, for the hards, for the softs, whatever it is? As Astra John then has been, oh goodness me, has been nerfed off the circuit, but Jinner then has gone through then into P6. Goodness me, I thought the racing ball was going to just dive down there, and now the other racing ball of Kiki then is on the intermediate compound tyres, and we're looking to get himself past his teammate, into the final couple of corners here. And yes, unfortunately, I think it's going to be a formality then for Astra John then, who's on the wet compound still, but Kiki then is sliding the car around so much that he's not been able to get himself past very quickly indeed. And now Legend is all over the back of the pair of them here as well. We go down towards turn 1 into the first corner then for lap 10, then into the braking zone. Not quite then. Donovan just called it a day finally then on the wet compound tyres. He's going to drop down the field, of course, but he has got himself Kiki's got himself through, as has Legend then in towards turn 2 then, and he's got himself a position then up into P8, has he? There's the racing ball still there, I think. But my goodness me, then Astra John is just sliding that car around, doing a bit of drifting, it looks like. They're fantastic. And yeah, unfortunately, he's lost a position then, but he's got the car lane looking very stylish indeed then through turns 2 and 3. Gordo's caught up to Coop now, but not being able to get past the Williams car then just yet, as we head through into this next part of Sector 2. So far, so good then. He's going around the outside at Sector 2 then. Goodness me, then he's going to go for the move. Then he's got the move, I think. Has he? Not quite. Then Coop's coming back at him down the inside with a switchback then. And let's see what it's going to be like then on the brakes then for Gordo. He's got himself such more braking power then, such more confidence on the brakes then in these intermediate compound, with these intermediate compounds, that you put the brakes on so much later than those on the wet compound tyre, and he can control his car at the same time, which is helpful. And now trying to charge after his teammate, who's taken taken the race lead then by over 2 seconds then as R2 beat, and looking quite comfortable out there as well then, using the spray then, or using the damp patches on the side of the tracks then to try and cool the tyres down as well as we go through onto lap 11 here. So far, so good as Equaz then sets the fastest lap of the race. Then Equaz was the first driver, one of the first drivers to pit then for the intermediate compound tyres. I think then Kiki sets the fastest lap as well. Then heading into turn 1, then he's got himself a bit of legend to keep him company. Then Mushroom has passed Astrojon then down the inside into P9 then for the McLaren. Then he takes away that position then from the Astrojon, from the Racing Bull. Sorry then, but of course Astrojon then is on the wet compound tyres still, as is Coupe then, as is Gamer then, and R2 Beatler. But those three and Astrojon, to be fair, holding on to their position quite comfortably at the moment as it stands. They're not losing too much time. They're still losing time, but they're not losing as much time as they might do compared to a fresh set of intermediate compound tyres. So it's not too bad for those who are still on the wet compound tyres. Then Vessier has been passed by Ginger Rage, then Hungry Styles has been passed by both of them. It looks like into turn 1. Then Ginger Rage now up into P15 and trying to charge on after Vintage is his next target. Good stuff indeed. Then here comes Gorda then looking to battle for the race lead. Then into sector 3, then he's got the race lead as he takes the position away from his teammate, I should say, then into the penultimate corner now as well. Brilliant stuff indeed so far then. Like I said, strategy all over the place really at the moment, but even in these wet conditions, it has not been very clear then which tyre is the best tyre then in these opening 11 laps as well then, as Ginger Rage has been passed by Vess here, I think, then into the chicane then somehow. So that is a very impressive move then, but unfortunately we didn't see it, so there we go. Equaz sets the fastest lap of the race then. Equaz now trying to charge on after the likes of Gamer, the likes of Coupe and R2B then is still on the wet compound tyres. Then Equaz needs to get a move on now as well then, because he has lost out to the race lead as it stands there, but he's got that gap back down then to, what is it exactly? It is exactly 6.7 seconds then, so it's not too far away then for Equaz now at this stage. Unfortunately for Gorda, that mistake would have cost him very dearly indeed, because he was leading the Grand Prix at the point then before he spun, and now he's got only a 6-second gap then to Equaz, who has pitted for fresher intermediate compound tyres. He's got 6 lap younger tyres, has Equaz, compared to Gorda, who started on the intermediate compound tyres in the full wet conditions, which was a masterful strategy then, but unfortunately I think it's going to start to come back to bite him now, because those tyres are starting to wear out, I think, at this stage now, and we'll see some more tyre wear then building up on those tyres compared to those who are pitted for intermediate compound tyres a bit earlier than the rest of the field as well then. Lap 12 then, as Gorda then comes down to finish off sector 3 then for the 12th time. Behind us we've got Equaz, who's joined the fight now for the podium places. Then there is the Williams car then behind his teammate, and then behind X-Gamer as well then into the final couple of corners then for lap 12 now as well. Then let's see how quickly can Equaz dispatch of the Haas, and how quickly can he dispatch of his teammate as well then. Is there going to be some team orders then to let Equaz through then for the Williams pair? I'm pretty sure they'll be aware of the situation. Then Gorda sets the fastest out of the race, and he's got a 4.2 second gap now already. Then the intermediate compound tyres are definitely the tyre to be on now, as here comes Equaz then on the charge and down the main straight, then getting himself past the Haas of Gamer, then into turn 1. Legend sets the fastest lap of the race, then he's putting the pressure now on Kiki as we head into turn 1. Then as we not making the move then, unfortunately he stays behind, and here comes Equaz now on the attack then with his teammate then into turn 2 and down the inside. He flies down the inside as well. Then Astrotron is pitting then, as is Rocket Lee then. So Rocket Lee, maybe it's dry enough then for the to stop raining completely, hasn't it there? So look at this, maybe Rocket Lee is going to go for the yes, Astrotron's gone for medium compound tyres out here, so it's definitely a switch to the dry compound then for the Racing Bull and for the Alpine of Rocket Lee as well. Then Kiki's got a 3-second penalty that's going to be added onto his race time. Ginger Rage is in the pit lane as well then, and we'll see what the Ginger Rage is going to go on to very shortly as well then. So the leaders, those who stayed out on the wet compound tyres, haven't lost too much here. R2 Beat's got himself onto the into the top 3 then as well then, but he's now under pressure from Equaz. But yes, it is definitely dry compound tyres going on these cars who are in the pit lane now then. Will the leaders have to respond then? Unfortunately for the Aston Martins, it looks like it's going to be a double stack then, with R2 Beat has been passed by his teammate of Gordo. Gordo now leads the Grand Prix on to lap 13 then, but are they going to come in the pit lane now? Not quite then, as Gordo stays out once again. But I think his teammate of R2 Beat will definitely be in the pit lane here. And yes, he is. Then Equaz then is coming in. No, he's staying out then. Is Equaz then. Coupe is coming into the pit lane. Jinner is coming into the pit lane as well then. And there we are then. So far, so good then, as we go into the pit lane now for Jinner. Then I think he's got himself past the Williams then as well. Brilliant overtake then into the pit lane as well. Fantastic. Something Gamer carries on then. So does Legend. Mushroom then is carried on into P5. Then there's yellow flags fluttering for an Alpine. I think it's an Alpine of of Rocket Lee, who's had an issue somewhere. He's got himself back underway quickly enough then, so good stuff indeed. R2P, then the lead runner onto the dry compound. Oh, goodness me, out of the pit lane then has lost the car almost. And goodness me, what is going on then for the Aston Martin? Then he's really struggling on those medium compound tyres, isn't he? And that might open the door then for the likes of Jenner and Coop to try and think about getting a move done on that lot. But there we go then, sick as muck then, hard compound tyres going on the car, then intermediates then coming into the pit lane for Hungary Styles then, and calling it a day on the wet compound tyres then. Top 5 yet to pit then from the intermediates, or the wets that is. Gamer has done a fantastic stint then on these wet compound tyres then. Legend now all over the back of his teammate, and this could get important stuff indeed, because there could be double stacking going on down at Haas then. So if you're first into the pit lane, it's going to be very important indeed as well, as we head into sector 3 now then. And Legend then, of course, is on the fresher tyres as well then. He's got the intermediate compound tyres on, which are going to be more helpful in these situations than the wet compound tyres, especially with how worn Gamer's tyres are heading into the penultimate corner now as well then. Gordo then carries on. Equaz carries on. Equaz does not carry on. Equaz is coming in the pit lane. Legend stays out as well then. Gamer's coming in the pit lane. Oh dear, he's having a bit of a troubled time then getting himself into the box. Then Sirius Mushroom is also in the pit lane as well from the intermediate compound tyres. Then Legend then gets himself over into P2. Then DRS has been enabled now. So DRS now being enabled, that indicates that it's definitely time then for the dry compound tyres. And unfortunately for R2B, he's been struggling so hard on this lap then on the out lap here that Jenner has caught up there into the DRS window, which is now enabled then down this main straight as well here. Now on the power then. Reflection also in the pit lane, calling it a day on the intermediate compound tyres. Sirius Mushroom coming out the pit lane. So Equaz up into P3, then back up into P3, I should say. Vince's got a 3-second better. Then here we go, Mushroom out of the pit lane, P9 for Mushroom. Reflection then onto a set of hard compound tyres. Might lose out to Sick as Muck, and might lose out to Astra John then, but down to P12 then for the Mercedes driver as well there. Not too shabby indeed. But there we are. Right then, two of them still out on intermediate compound tyres, and that is Gordo, our race leader then, and Legend then in P2 in the Haas. Then he's got a 15-second gap back to Equaz. I think it'll lose out then to the Williams car. Potentially, we've got yellow flags though for a Mercedes. It's Reflection at the exit of turn 1, then trying to get the car back underway there, but he's having a few problems out there and has got himself restarted. And unfortunately, those hard compound tyres not warmed up enough then, as we got more yellow flags for a Ferrari. And it's Don of the Dons, I think, who's had an issue then somewhere at the exit of the penultimate corner, then trying to get himself back underway. Yes, he has got himself back underway, but unfortunately I think it's dropped down behind the race leaders for momentarily, that is, because oh no, it's not momentarily. Yes, it is momentarily, sorry, because Gordo and Legend have now pitted then, so Don of the Don's back onto the lead lap here as well then. Good stuff indeed then. Medium compound tyres going on the Aston Martin then, and Legend then is trundling down the pit lane then. Gordo's going to come back out in the lead. Gordo's come back out in the lead very quite substantially out in the lead as well then. Look at that, as oh goodness me then, the tyres are not warming up very quickly then out of the pit lane here, are they? Legend coming out in P5 then. He might be under pressure then through turn 1 then, because Coop is going to be on much warmer tyres at this stage. And goodness me, almost into the back then of the Haas car as we go in towards turn 2 then. Legend trying to defend then into turn 2, but the tyre temperature is not going to be in his favour at this stage of the race then, compared to Coops, who's done 2 laps then, who's warmed up those hard compound tyres slightly more, but he's held on to P5 for the time being then. Goodness me. Right then, everyone on the dry compound tyres now from lap 16, so that's good stuff indeed. Right then, 6 seconds the gap then for the race leader of Gordo now, who's done a fantastic job. Then the intermediate compound tyres then for the start of the Grand Prix was a masterstroke. Then Ginger Rage has set the fastest lap of the race then. Brilliant stuff indeed for the McLaren driver. Heading into turn 1 then, Vessi then is just ahead of us. But he can't quite make the move then. So Gordo then starting on the intermediate compound tyres, not the wet compound tyres, has made a masterstroke call then. He's got a 7-second lead then to P2 of Equaz, then R2B, then P3 in the other Aston Martin. Under pressure from Jinner, under pressure from Legend, under pressure from Coop, under pressure from Gamer. So there's quite a battle then for the final podium place as it stands then, all the way down to P7 then. Kiki could join the fight then. He's 1.8 seconds behind then in P8 then. Mushroom then is not far behind then. Sick as Muck unfortunately is a bit far behind. He's 14 seconds behind as it stands. But there could be some shenanigans to get himself back in the fight. Then Equaz sets the fastest lap of the race, then trying to get that gap down to Gordo into turn 1. Then lap 17 has commenced here in Hungary. Fantastic. Mushroom set the fastest lap of the race as well then. Goodness me, the McLarens are flying out there as we head in towards turn 1 then, as Gamer has got himself past Coop, has he? Around the outside then, no, down the inside, sorry, at turn 1. Has he got the traction? There's contact between the two of them again, then into the second turn, and round the outside then the Haas, I think, has got the move then, has he? Yes, he has. and up into P6 now, trying to chase down his teammate of Legend, who's now stuck behind Jinner, who's now stuck behind R2Beat, then who's leading this train then all the way down to P7. Then it's a pretty close battle for these 5 drivers as we go into lap 17 now as well. Then Serious Mushroom is trying to catch up to Kiki then for that P8 position. Sick as Muck's got a lot of work cut out then to try and get himself further up the top 10, but he's in the points paying position as it stands. Then Ginger Rage has flown down the inside there of Vessia, and goodness me, then Ginger Rage then trying to keep the car under control. I think at that point, at that braking point, then now has got the inside for turn 2, and Vessia's gone round the outside. Then Vessia holds on to P13 for the time being. Then both these drivers on the hard compound tyres going long in this first stint of the dry compound, that is. Rocket Lee set the fastest lap of the race then. Rocket Lee on the medium compound tyres. Gordo set the fastest lap of the race then. He's got himself back up into the into the race lead and with the fastest lap point as it stands. But Equaz has taken that away with a 21.8 and improved by 1.7 seconds on that lap as well then. So the time is definitely tumbling down now as the track is definitely drying out quickly. As Mushroom then sets the fastest lap of the race then. This time Mushroom on the challenge then for that P8 position ahead of Kiki down the inside at turn 1 then. And once again the McLaren going very deep then on the brakes then. And Kiki might be able to swoop back then with the undercut then. With the switchback, I should say, then into turn 2. Then we've got all sorts of Mercedes and Haas battling then into turn 2 and 3. Then and the X-Gamer then holds on to P5. Jenner's been passed by both the Haas's then into turn 1 and 2. Mushroom picks up a penalty then going wide at turn 3 then, but he's got himself up into P8 for the time being as well then, so he's got that position at least. And the penalty situation for Kiki then is equal now with the Mushroom as well. So both the Haas's then passing the Mercedes of Jenner. Then Jenner's on the hard compound tyres, so won't be as fast, I would think, at the at this stage compared to the medium runners, but of course we'll be looking to go longer in this stint compared to the medium runners as well then, so it is not all done and dusted just yet then for the Mercedes or for Coupe then in the Williams, who's still holding on to this trio as well. Well, this not trio, it's quite a lot of people. Rocket Lee sets the fastest lap of the race once again then, so Rocket Lee on a charge out there. They're good stuff indeed then. Vessia then has got himself caught up behind Ginger Rage then, unfortunately. That's not where you want to be. But Ginger Rage then on a charge now in the McLaren. Then, of course, on the hard compound tyres, there's quite a lot of drivers. There's only 4 drivers ahead of Ginger Rage who's on the hard compound tyre. Everybody else is on the medium compound tyre and has done at least 2 laps more than him on those medium compound tyres compared to his hard compound tyres. So he's done not done too bad, not doing too badly, let's just say, out in front. Then the gap's staying pretty equal between Equaz and Gordo, about 6.4 seconds. Then 3 seconds back to R2Beat. Then Legend now is 1.6 seconds behind the podium sitter of R2Beat. Then has got his challenge of Gamer then and challenge of Jinner as we head into lap 19. Goodness me. Right then, I need a rest then, but we're only on lap 19 to be fair. We've still got 50 laps to go after this one, and it's going to be action-packed, and I think if it carries on this way then into the rest of this Grand Prix, then so far so good then as we head into the middle part of the lap, or middle part of the race I should say then very soon. Coupe unfortunately has lost out. He's got a 3-second penalty for his troubles as well then. Now under pressure from Serious Mushroom, who's caught up then to the Williams car, heading through sector 2 here. Now out in front then, gap coming down to 6 seconds, then almost under 6 seconds then for Equaz, as Gamer then is putting the challenge and keeping the challenge on his teammate then Legend then for P4. A Legend trying to catch up then to R2Beat as well, then to get that DRS to pull himself along and down this main straight then, but not quite then for the Haas driver then, who's currently in P4. Equaz sets the fastest lap of the race, then R2Beat then sets the fastest lap of the race, and Legend set the fastest lap of the race then, and that's it then. Is it good stuff? Right then, I think there's going to be some more fastest laps coming then as the track's still drying out then at this stage, but it's definitely bone dry almost. Oh goodness me, there's contact between Kiki and Coupe then right into the back of the Williams car goes Coupe, who goes Kiki, sorry. Gamer then and Legend then switching places then into turn 2, then the Haas pair then switching places then into P4. Now goes Gamer, and up the hill we go then in towards turn 4, then into P4 for the Belgian driver then. Good stuff indeed. The Legend then stays behind, then Jinner then in P6. Then they've dropped Mushroom then, who of course was battling with Coupe, and Coupe has dropped down to P8 now. Mushroom up into P7 and trying to charge on the medium compact tyres. Astra John and Sick as Buck then going very wide then is the Racing Bull into turn 2, and on the exit then of turn 3 then, oh dear, he's got a lot of overspeed then as the Racing Bull. I thought he was going to go for a move then up into turn 4, but that's not a very optimum overtaking position, I should say so myself. Then Ginger Rage has been passed by Vessia, and then P13 now for the Alpine driver, then trying to get a move on those hard compound tyres. But like I said, there is quite a majority on the medium compound tyres ahead of these two, so they will factor themselves back into the race then later on when the stints start to unfold, and who is doing what then in terms of strategy. Then we'll have to find out as well then what they're going going to be planning then what's up their sleeves in this part of this race. Well, there's still 50 laps to go in this Grand Prix, but there's still quite a lot of strategy to unfold as well here. Mushroom then is 1.4 seconds behind Ginner. Then Ginner is now trying to be well, I think Mushroom's trying to catch up to the trio ahead and try and get himself involved in the battle as well here. Gamer, unfortunately, has not been able to catch up to R2 Beat as it stands then. 1.9 seconds, the gap between the Haas and the Aston Martin then for that final podium place right now. But, of course, we'll see if that changes then in the next few laps or so. But there we go then. Good stuff indeed. Then Kiki now joining the fight here as well. Then Sikazmak, unfortunately, has had that battle with Astrojon then, but he stayed P10. Astrojon has dropped off the back then slightly of the Ferrari for the time being, that is. But we'll probably just trying to recoup some battery then and go again then for his next attempt. Then here comes Ginger Rage then on the attack then down towards turn 1, but he's too far back to make the move then on the Alpine of Vessia. Stays P14, but it's going to have a double dose of DRS then down towards turn 2 again, and now heading through then into turn 2, then into lap 21 now here as we fly through the laps quite quickly indeed, of course, through this Hungary Grand Prix because it's a very quick lap time overall. And there's another fantastic stat for you. Right then, Reflection picks up a penalty, unfortunately, going through, I think, turn 4, which, of course, is a penalty zone then for the drivers. Then they're going to be very wary of that then when they get to the 50% races then for gold, silver and bronze, of course, on Sunday, Monday and Tuesday coming up this weekend, or from this weekend. So stay tuned for that one. Legend then is holding station behind his teammate for the time being. Then Ginner is waiting in the wings. Then Ginner is getting closer and closer then to the Haas pair as the medium compound tyres start to get to... well, I think the hard compound tyres start to phase in, actually, rather than the medium compound tyres start to drop off yet. But we'll have to wait and see when they do start to drop off then, because it won't be too long from now, I would imagine. Here comes the Racing Bull of Astrojon then on the back of the Sickers Muckman in towards turn 1. And has he got the move then? Yes, he has got the inside now. And Sickers Muckman have to go wide then and go round the outside then. But here comes Astrojon then now some DRS then once again down towards turn 2. Can he hold the position round the outside here? Can the Racing Bull then? Looking good indeed. I think he's got a bit too far wide then. And now Sickers Muck has regained the place as well then into turn 3 then. Brilliant stuff indeed then as well. Here comes Ginger Rage then on the attack then. Can he get himself past Vessier into turn 2? Not quite. Then he's too far back then, but he's thinking about it. Is the McLaren driver then? He's thinking about it, but he's just not quite doing it just yet. But maybe just biding his time then for the opportune moment. Yellow flags, and we've got Don the Dons then, who's facing, well, not facing the wrong way, but he's off the circuit. Well, not off the circuit. He was momentarily, but yes, pointing into the wall then at the final corner. Unfortunately, he's been lapped then by the top 6, maybe even the top. I'm not sure. Never mind. As Legend has taken that P4 position. Goodness me, Ginner has dived down the inside then of the Haas car. And there was a slight contact there as well then, but I think Ginner was having to take evasive action as well then, because the Haas pair were very slow in making that move, and yes, somehow they avoided a major incident there, to be fair, with Ginner then having to just dive down the inside there. He's managed to make the move then on Gamer, then up into P5. I'm not sure Gamer's going to be too happy about that, but unfortunately, I don't think actually Ginner had much option, to be fair, rather than going in the back of the Haas or trying to make avoiding action and diving down the inside at that point as well. Astrotron is off the circuit then. That's not going to be able to make the move then on the Ferrari of Sickers Muck then into turn 2 with that sort of escapades, unfortunately then, but he stays P11 for the time being. Then Ginger Rage all over the back of the Alpine of Vessia, and Hungry Styles has joined the fight as well here and looking to get himself a couple of positions here in the Red Bull car too. So we'll have to wait and see how that's going to fare. And in front then, gap 5.7 seconds, so it is coming down gradually then for Equaz, in his favour, that is. But it's not coming down very quickly at the moment, but we'll come back to that one. Ginner has lost out then to the DRS of Legend then, so that's going to be useful for Gamer then to try and get himself back up into P5 here. Legend sets the fastest lap of the race, and he's been burning some energy then, trying to get himself a gap then to the Mercedes in yellow flags again then for a Ferrari of Don of the Dons at the same place then for Don of the Dons then having another issue. Gamer has got himself past Ginner then, has he? No, he hasn't, as they're both side by side. They're both hitting each other, and yeah, okay, right then. Wow. It's just wow. Like, it's just amazing, like, that people are going to drive like that. It's just, yeah, I can't believe it, to be honest, but there we go. Fantastic. Well, that's just brilliant. Well, then we'll just have to look and see. Well, I mean, yeah, you're not going to help yourself if you're going to drive like that, I'm afraid. Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, there's not much else to talk about really in that situation, as Ginner now is just driving angry as well then, so he's going to retaliate at some point. Yes, well, I mean, yeah, we can't do anything about stopping it now. Unfortunately, we're in the race, and we have to just sit here and wait for the safety car or needless incident to happen. Ginger Rage then trying to get himself past Vessia then for P13. Don the Don's had an issue at the spoon curve of turn 5. Then unfortunately going around there, Ginner's got a 3-second penalty then going through into sector 3. Yeah, unfortunately for Jenna. There we go then. As no, I'm not. Yeah, goodness me, I'm not sure what's going on there, really, to be honest. Right, then we'll crack on then, shall we? Brilliant stuff indeed. Between the Haas and the Mercedes driver this time, then it seems to be there's a common denominator there as well. The Mercedes driver has been involved like that a couple of times as we head into turn 1 now. And yes, there we are then into turn 1. We go then. The DRS then still available then for the Mercedes driver. Then Coop is involved as well. Then yellow flags for Don of the Dons, who has caused a safety car. Then has Don of the Dons, I think. And yes, he has caused a safety car, then has the Ferrari, then he's into the pit lane. Now he's lost the front wing on the Ferrari car, so there we are. Right then, safety car has come out then, so we're going to have a lovely nullified race then here, as Don the Dons has been passed by his teammate into the pit lane then, so he's going that slowly, unfortunately, to be passed by Sick as Muck now, and he's going to have to queue up behind his teammate here as well at the same point of time. So unfortunately, that's not worked out very well then for the Ferraris. There we are then. Astrodron then is going to be in the pits as well. Then hard compound tyres going on the Racing Bull car. Reflection also in the pit lane for medium compound tyres. Then what are the leaders? Where are the leaders? They're coming into, well, Gordo is coming into sector 3 and just completing his 25th lap now as well. So hopefully all those who are in the pit lane can get themselves out ahead of Gordo, because otherwise they're going to be lapped as well. So there we go then, as we head on to lap 26, I think it is. We have got some safety car action here tonight then, so brilliant stuff indeed. We can now sit here behind the safety car and wait. Don of the pits then, says Troy. Fantastic stuff indeed. And people wonder why I don't want to do an event league next season. Right then, well, I might not be doing ALR next season, to be fair, so there we are. Right then, Jinner then has got himself up into P2 then with no pit stop then. He's got himself up into the race lead, sorry, with no pit stop. And unfortunately, it's just going to be very costly for him at the end of this, well, when the safety car does restart then, because everyone's on fresh tyres. But there we are. That is his prerogative then to do that. Gamer has gone on to 11 lap old soft compound. No, he's not. He's gone on to normal lap soft compound tyres. And back underway then, P8 then for him. I think he's been a double stack behind his teammate then, who's pitted for hard compound tyres as well. And I'm going to take a break. Bear with me 1 second. Safety car, it's a safety car. Gonna sing about the safety car. There's not much I can do, to be fair, apart from sing about the safety car. It's going to be waiting for a long time for the drivers to catch up to the safety car queue, and we can get ourselves restarted in top 6 on the hard compound tyres. Unfortunately for Jenna, he's on 13 lap older hard compound tyres than the rest of the field, because he has not pitted then under this safety car. But to be fair, I'm not sure what the tyre wear is like, but potentially he's not too bad on the hard compound, so he might be okay. Brilliant stuff indeed. Sick as Muck then catching up to the back of the field. Then that's going to be good news for Sick as Muck. Then, of course, he was quite a far way off the field as Rocket Lee's picked up a penalty, unfortunately for him. Yeah, he's quite far way back off the field then for a battle for the top 9, that is. But now he's going to be in contention then for some more points potentially for the Ferrari driver then, which is great stuff indeed. As is Astrodron, as is Reflection, as is Ginger Rage, as is Hungry Styles, as is Vessia, as is Vintage, as is Rocket Lee as well. So there we go. Don Spin says Big Owl then. Great stuff indeed. I think, yeah, he spun a couple of times then at the final corner there and then crashed into the wall, then trying to get himself back in the pit lane, which has caused the safety car. And unfortunately, he's been lapped as well, which means he can't overtake the safety car to get himself back on the lead lap, which is problematic, let's just say. But there we are. That is the situation we are in. Then waiting for the drivers to catch up to the queue now and get ourselves restarted then in this race. But so far so good then for most of the drivers. They have got themselves onto a fresh set of hard compound tyres, medium compound tyres for Coupe, and then soft compound tyres for Gamer. So we're going to go for a very fast stint then is Gamer in the Haas in P8. Kiki on the hard compound tyres, then Sick as Muck and Astrojon are on the... Sorry, no, they're not. They're on the mediums and the hards respectively. Then Reflection and Ginger Rage on the hard compound, medium compound tyres. Then hards for Styles, hards for Vintage, hards for Rocket Lee, and for the Dons and Vessia's on the medium compound tyre as well. Then, but we're not going to get restarted, I don't think, on this lap. Yes, we are actually. Never mind. Forgive me. So we can crack on. Right then, Jinner is going to be leading us away then for this restart. And unfortunately for Jinner, then he's on the older hard compound tyre. So I think Gordo is going to be very keen to get himself past the Mercedes driver then very shortly. Waiting for that Mercedes to drop the hammer and get himself moving then in the straight line. Then, goodness me, Gordo's having a bit of struggles to get the car pointed in the right direction on that power on the restart. Then here comes Equaz then trying to get himself down the inside then of the Aston Martin heading into turn 1. And I think, yes, he is there. He is there. He's got the move, I think, as well as Equaz. Then good stuff indeed. Then up into P2 then for the Williams driver. Then side by side into... Goodness me, I thought he was going to cut off the front wing then of the Aston Martin, but not quite then. Contact made between the Williams and the Mercedes as, again, I don't think anybody's factored in that the Gino hasn't pitted then in this stage. Gamer's got a 3-second penalty then going over turn 3, and he's got himself... he's actually under pressure from Kiki rather than attacking the Williams of Coupe then. So unfortunately, those soft compound tyres not working out as best as he might then for this first outing. That is the first sector or two, as obviously they're going to be warming up very quickly indeed in the next few laps or so. So Gino leads the way still. He's got a 0.3 of a second gap then to Equaz then as they filter through Sector 2 then into Sector 3 on lap 28 now as well. Then good stuff so far as we head into the midpoint of the Grand Prix, middle sector of the Grand Prix almost. As there we go then. I think now DRS is going to be enabled on the next lap, or on this lap, then on to the next lap. So there I think will be Equaz's opportune movement to go for the race lead then down the main straight with some DRS assistance. Potentially he's going to go for it here. And goodness me, he's almost going to go for it around the final corner then of lap 28. On to lap 29 we go then, and Equaz has got the Williams car then the straight line right behind that diffuser of the Mercedes and heading in towards turn 1, and late on the brakes as well, then much later on the brakes than the Jinner, but Jinner's got the inside line now, and Equaz is powering around the outside on the traction, has got the position I think. Yes, he has then down the inside into turn 2, has got the race lead again from the Mercedes driver. Then has he? Oh goodness me, I can't quite tell what's going on between these two, but it looks like I think that Equaz has got it. So there we go then. So Gordo stays P3. Jinner holds on now to P2. Then can he hold on the fight? There is the question. And can Equaz try and scamper off into the distance now with the Mercedes as a bit of a placeholder then in between the rest of the field and himself, who's on the fresher hard compound tyres then going into sector 2. Then Jinner's Jinner's actually looking like those hard compound tyres are holding on pretty nicely for the time being, that is. But of course he needs to stay there. And we've had an issue then for Don the Dons again. Then he's had another problem at sector 2 and spun the car around. Then he's back underway now, thankfully. Right then, lap 30 then to commence. 40 laps to go in this Grand Prix. We're actually powering through the laps pretty quickly actually in this Grand Prix. But yes, there we are then. Jinner has held on to the DRS then of Equaz, which is very important then for Jinner on these older hard compound tyres. And he needs to hold on to that DRS then to at least give himself a chance then later on in this race. And so far he is doing a good job of that. Then Ginger Age sets the fastest lap of the race as well. Then in P12, brilliant stuff from Ginger Age, and he is Ginger Aging on, which is fantastic. Gordon is staying P3, sorry. Jinner stays P2, then Jinner's using that DRS to effect then to keep him in the fight then for the race lead, albeit he's on 14 lap, or no he's not, he's on 12 lap older tyres than the rest of the field, or the rest of the top 6 that is. We go through then into turn 4 then on lap 30 here as well. Oh dear, Mushroom's gone round then. There's a problem then for the McLaren at the top of turn 4 then. He's dropped down the field then, trying to get himself back underway here as well. And unfortunately he's ghosted as well then, so he's gone down to P17 there. I'm not sure if there was a helping hand then from Coop potentially then, but there seemed to be a bit of a spin then for the McLaren heading through turn 4. And that has been costly indeed, because he's down to the back of the field then. He's on the hard compound tyres as well though, so he's not too doom and gloom then, as Don the Dons has had another problem at the dreaded turn 5 and is having another issue there as well then. Goodness me, it's all issues now it seems. So brilliant stuff indeed into the halfway stage of the race. Vessia picks up a penalty. Mushroom something head, 88 throwing ATM. Good stuff. That means, I don't know what that means, but there's stuff in the comments, so great stuff indeed. Coop sets the fastest lap of the race, then in the Williams car, he's on medium compound tyre. Ginger Rage takes it away though. Ginger Rage is flying out there. Let's see what Ginger Rage, no, we won't see what Ginger Rage is up to. We'll see what the Aston Martins are up to. He's Gordo's been passed, no he hasn't been passed, he's almost passed his teammate. RTB almost passed his teammate, then they're in a fight with Ginner I think then, as Ginger Age is flying. Ginger Age is up into P11 then, just outside the top 10 now as it stands. Of course, there's quite a long way to go then for the McLaren driver, but he's looking strong out there as it stands at the moment. But I don't want to jinx it, so I'll come back to him later on lap 69 actually, and I will, as Don of the Dons has crashed out again. Of course, another safety car, so fantastic. Never mind, then we'll have to wait for the safety car to bunch up the queue again. Lap 31 then of 70. Fantastic stuff indeed. Don't blame me, says Luke Chapman. Blame the Fowen. Yes, I blame the Fowen. Yes, and there we go then. Fantastic. Safety car number 2 then, everyone. And we've got another wait then for some more racing, to be fair, because we're going to sit here and wait to see what's going to happen next. Ginner might use the opportunity to pit for a new set of tyres, but unfortunately he will be dropping himself down the back of the field then with that. But nonetheless, he'll be on fresher tyres. Yes, it's interesting call to not pit under the first safety car, but there we are then. Everyone else is staying out, it looks like then, because they've only done 5 laps or so on their fresher tyres under the first safety car. So now we can sit here and wait then for the safety car to once again get ourselves sorted and back underway. Lap 35 or 37 or 400 will probably be the one we restart on, but we'll come back to that very shortly. Then we'll have a quick word from our lovely sponsors, because I'm going to be cool. Right then, safety car has caught the queue up now, so hopefully we can get ourselves restarted now. We would have hopefully had the call by now, but obviously not, so never mind. But right then, lap 32 of 70. Goodness me, I'm already trying to fall asleep, I think, here. Well, unfortunately, I haven't had any sleep last night, so I am just hoping to get to the end of this race at some point today. But so far, they don't want to do that. But there we go. Damn phone, says Luke Chapman. And Gordo has said, I put the wrong tyre allocation on. I've only got 1 set of mediums. Not ideal for Gordo then. And Gordo has stayed out then. He is on the same life tyre then. Equaz R2B, his teammate and legend. And the same for Kiki. Same for everyone on the hard compound tyre, actually. Both the Mercedes have pitted for a fresh set of medium compound tyres, but they're down the back of the field, unfortunately, now as well. So they're going to have their work cut out to try and get themselves back through. Mushroom then is up into P15 after that, whatever happened at turn 4 on the previous couple of laps then as well. Then Ginger Rage is up into the top 10. Goodness me, that's going to be terrifying heights indeed for the Ginger Rage. And yes, we'll hopefully be back racing then on lap 34, which will be almost at the halfway point of this Grand Prix, but I'm not counting. So there we go. Right then, lap 33 then of 70, and yes, As I've said, I'm very tired, so I want to go to bed at some point tonight. And yes, unfortunately, we've had 2 safety cars, which has kind of held up my progress of falling asleep. But yes, we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen at the end of this Grand Prix. Firstly, we've got another half of the Grand Prix to go, and we're heading into lap 34. Then we'll be restarting on lap 34 then for this safety car restart, and heading ourselves into the second half of the race and seeing what's going to happen then as well. Then Astra John has had an issue somewhere at the Sector 2 chicanes, and unfortunately he's gone off the circuit. Hopefully he is okay to carry on and back underway, and we'll catch up to the queue quickly enough, then we can get ourselves restarted on this lap still. Yes, it is coming in this lap. Brilliant stuff indeed. So Equaz will lead us away then for this restart of number 2. And damn phone, yes, we've read that already. Troy said he's got the wrong stream, so that's yeah, well, that's just unfortunate. But there we go. And what's happening there, I'm not quite sure. I think there was some position changes going on, but hopefully they've sorted themselves out, and we can get ourselves restarted then for the Hungarian Grand Prix then on lap 34. Equaz then is going to go, and he's underway. So right, then race resumed as we go through the final corner then to lap 34 then, and underway then for the Aston Martins, for the Williams cars, for the Haas cars as well. Gamer is on the fresh, or not, it was on the fresh soft combat tyres. Maybe he's going to have a bit more chance of warming them up then with a bit of a scrubbed set now as we head into turn 1 this time. Gino and Mushroom, and goodness me, what is going on? There's an Alpine, and there's a reflection as well then. My goodness me, and all sorts going on here as well. Mushroom and Gino are fighting as well into turn 2, and Mushroom has held the place then into P13, well, got the place I think into P13. We're not quite sure what happened between Rocket Lee then and Reflection as well then, but Reflection and Rocket Lee both went for a spin. Astrodron has got himself back underway then in the after that spin under the safety car, and is now into P15. So fantastic. There we are then. All right then, Anarchy is underway. Lap 34 then of 70 as we get ourselves through the laps then as slowly as possible, it seems like in my case, because like I said, I'm falling asleep. That Ginger Rage picking up a penalty, that's going to be costly for Ginger Rage at the end of the Grand Prix here, where currently the penalty is starting to rack up then for all drivers out here as well, apart from the top 4 then, apart from Zika Smuck then, apart from Styles, and apart from Astra John, who has not got any penalties at this stage of the race, that is, but we're only halfway through, so there we are. Dear Kiki's had an issue. Kiki's had an issue then somewhere. Where is it? There it is. At the penultimate corner then, at the final corner as well then, it seems like drifting that car around the final corner is the Racing Bull driver then down to P14, and unfortunately he's lost DRS then as well on his rivals, and could be under pressure from that's Reflection and Astrodron then, sorry, into turn 1. Reflection locking up the inside right then, and that is a major lock up indeed as well then, but he's held on to the position just about then. He's got the traction then as well into P15. Gino and Vintage, and there's contact with Mushroom as well then. Mushroom's had an issue then with, or Ginner's gone into the back of Mushroom, I think. That's the issue. Reflection's gone through as well, has he, into a P14. Then Astrodron has gone down to up to P15. Ginner's dropped down the field then into P16 here, and Astrodron is under pressure now from the Mercedes, I should say, then around turn 5. And goodness me, then like I said, not overtaking place, but Ginner has gone for it anyway. So there we are then. Sick as much picked up a penalty too, as the penalties, like I said, starting to roll in now. The top 4, Hungary Styles and Astrodron, are the only drivers without any penalties here as we head over the crest of the hill then into Sector 3 for the top of the order. Ginger Rage then is all over the back of Sick as Muck then as we head into Sector 3 as well. Then lap 35 then is complete, well, almost complete, as we head into the next 35 laps. Ginger Rage then P8 for the time being, then can he get himself past the Ferrari and up into P7 then along the DRS straight then with some extra speed then with the rear wing open. It is open now then, here he goes then. Vessia then in close contention as well. Then Hungry Styles up into the top 10 as well as it stands, as Gordo and R2B are switching places. Then R2B and Gordo then battling away. Then these two side by side, there's contact between the two of them as well. Then in towards turn 2, side by side still then as we go around the outside then for Gordo, and trying to hold the inside now for turn 3. Then there could be contact here that's close indeed, and both the Aston Martins have behaved very well indeed there as well. Ginger Rage got himself past Sick as Muck then up into P7. Then Vessia has gone through as well then for P8, and here comes Hungry Styles then on Sick as Muck then into turn 4 then. Goodness me, that is robust to say the least. And he has got the position somehow, but I'm not sure Sick as Muck's going to be too happy with him after that as well. Fantastic. Right then. Jinder then has got himself recomposed and back up into the DRS window. Then Astrotron has unfortunately dropped out the order then, but he's still on the hard compound tyres and looking to compete for the latter parts of this race, hopefully, at least that is. But there we go. They're now in front. Then Aston Martin's a status quo. Then behind Equaz in P1. Legend then stays P4. Then Coupe is all over the back of them both, but of course is on the medium compound tyres. Gamer then is on the soft compound tyres, sorry, and might have to think about a pit stop very soon, I think, because I'm not sure how long those soft compound tyres are going to last for too long. The top 6 then are scampering away. Then Ginger Age then is leading the train then from P7 down the field. Then let's see what the rest of the field are going to say about that. Then here comes Vessia then looking to go down the inside of Ginger Age into turn 1, and has he got the position? Not quite. Then Ginger Age on the traction, then very quick indeed as he's trying to hold on to that position. Then down the inside there, but not quite. Then there's yellow flags in the background for reflection at the exit of turn 1 as well then. And the Mercedes has had an issue, I should say. Ginger Age has gone wide then at exit of turn 3. Then he's down to P8. Then he's being passed by Vessia, but he holds on to P8 then ahead of Styles for the time being, that is. But Styles, of course, on the hard compound tyres will only get faster in this race as it goes on then, as his tyres phase in then to this Grand Prix. In the background, I thought we had, goodness me, trying to go too wide through the chicane here. Trying to go too wide on the exit of the chicane as well here, through into turn 8 and 9. And goodness me, he's held it somehow as Kiki up into P10 now and trying to get himself back onto the train then. Goodness me, a serious mushroom trying to go down the inside then of the Mercedes. I think there's all sorts of things going on here as well. Then Vintage and Sicker's Muck are going to be bystanders, I think, here as well. Gina goes down the inside of the Red Bull of Vintage, and Mushroom then is dropped down to P14 for the time being, but is still in contention then with the DRS then through onto the next lap as well here. But my goodness me, battling all over the field. Then R2 Beat then coming through into P2. Has he got the move done then this time on his teammate of Gordo? Has he got it covered off then into turn 2 as well? Then yes, he has done, I think. And goodness me, there's more action then as Mushroom is passed into P13. Jinner has passed, no, he's not passed Sicker's Muck then into P11. But now into turn 2. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I think it is. Yes, it is turn 2. But now Sicker's Muck then at turn 3. Then, oh, goodness me, there's almost contact then. And Jinner, I think, is going to scamper through then into turn 4. Yes, he is. And there he goes, up into P11. Then good stuff indeed. Then Mushroom then P13 passing Vintage. And yes, all the chaos can hopefully calm down a bit now, but I'm not sure it will. So Game then started to struggle, I think, on those soft compound tyres. Then he's done 12 laps on those softs already, and like I said, that's probably past their best date, I should say. But he's still holding on then to the DRS then of Coupe for the time being. Then Ginger Rage is holding on to Vessia, as is Styles then in P9. Then P9 for Styles at the moment is not a bad result. Then of course penalties for the drivers ahead as well, or 4 drivers ahead that is, could promote him even further up the order if it stays this way then. But we're on to lap 39. We will be very shortly. There we go. R2 Beats has the fastest lap of the race. So yeah, we're on to lap 39 then. So we've only got 30 laps to go or so, almost at the end of this one. So good stuff indeed so far, powering through as much of the lap time as quickly as possible, which is good. But there we go. Then here comes R2 Beat on the attack then into turn 2. Then he's not quite got enough straight then to make the move then down the inside into turn 2. He stays behind the Williams of Equaz for the time being. Gina and Kiki are battling away. Then Kiki then down the inside. Goodness me, there's contact between the two of them. Kiki's desperate there, unfortunately, and that has cost Kiki then a couple of places. Then Legend picks up a penalty as well. Then Kiki then spins the car. Then he's got himself back underway. A half spin then from Gina. From the contact of Kiki going into Gina, I think there. But has got himself back underway then quickly enough then for the Racing Bull team then. Fantastic. Unfortunately for Game, and then those soft compound tyres I think are past their sell by date now. Trying to think of a pit stop time to come in now would be the next phase then for the Haas driver, and potentially can go for a set of hards or mediums to the end of the Grand Prix from here in his next pit stop then. Ginger Rage might be thinking about a pit stop in a few laps time. Will it be soft compound tyres potentially for those who have gone onto the hards or the mediums, that is, for this first stint under the safety car, then potentially going to go try and stretch it then to the soft compounds then for the final stint? We will find out then very shortly. Then Cooper's lost out to the DRS then of the top 4, so the top 4 now scampering away on the hard compound tyres and really making it go for it. Then here comes R2B, then almost, oh goodness me, I thought he was going to lock up and go straight into Equaz there, but not quite, and well held. But now into turn 2, then R2B all over the back end of that Williams car, then heading through, then not quite then for him. Ginger Rage, Ginger Rage has been, was there contact then, or was he just caught on the curb then for Ginger Rage? Then he's going to be swamped then by Styles and by Jinner as well, then into turn 2. Oh my god, then Jinner has just sent it then on Styles there, and yes, I'm not quite sure what was going on there. Ginger Rage has gone through as well then. and got himself a 3-second penalty then for his troubles. But yes, unfortunately, I'm not quite sure Jenner was under control of the car, put it that way, at that point. Mushroom then up into P11, then onto the back of the top 10 now as well, and has got himself past Sick as Muck then for the time being. Vintage now putting the pressure on as well here for the Ferrari driver as well into the sector 2 chicane. But there we are, the trio, or the train, sorry, starting to form behind Vessia now for P7. The rest of the field, then the top 4 scampering off in the distance, then Coop and Gamer then in a bit of no man's land as it stands, but looking to switch up the strategies, I think, very shortly indeed. Lap 40 has been completed as it's Serious Mushroom and Jinner then battling away. Then Serious Mushroom up into P10, passing his rival of Jinner, then now right onto the back of his teammate of Ginger Rage. R2B has got the lead, then he's taken the lead then into lap 41, then onto turn 1, into turn 1, he's taken the lead. DRS assistance as well, then we've got more action down this field as well, and here comes, it's Gamer in the pit lane. I thought there was all sorts of things going on there, but thankfully not. Then into turn 1, then Ginger Age holds on to PA, and then Serious Mushroom has got the inside then as well then, and goodness me, I think he's lost the traction then, did Serious Mushroom. Then he's lost out then to oh my god, then as Ginger Rage and Jinner have come together at the exit of turn 2, then Ginger Rage has just dropped down the field there, and my goodness me, what's going on here? He needs to get himself going again quickly enough, because there's Kiki, there's Vintage, there's all sorts there, and the Hungry Stars has been passed by Vessia as well here around the outside at turn 5, which is pretty impressive, and up to P6. As goodness me, then through the chicane, the Mushroom has gone for a move on Jenner. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I mean, you can tell when the people are getting angry around Hungary, for sure. But yes, there we are then. I think Ginger Rage maybe very wisely got out of that, because he didn't want to get involved in anything, any shenanigans. And yes, well, it still might happen then. It looks like ahead of us. But as we go into Sector 3 now, that quartet, or that quintet, or whatever it's called, is very closely compared or compacted as we go on to lap 42 now. Then RTB needs the way. Then they've dropped Gordo now, and Legend now is in the fight then for the final podium place here. Coop then in a bit of a no man's land, as is Vessia then. Vessia, sorry, under pressure from Styles then for that P6 position. Then Styles then going down the main straight with some DRS, has got himself up into P6 then. Brilliant stuff indeed. And Mushroom then slots into P8 now for the time being. Then Jinner P9, Sick as Muck P10, Kiki in P11, Vintage in P12, and Ginger Rage then is P13 now, after unfortunately letting everyone through after the contact then with Jinner then. So I'm not quite sure what happened there, but nonetheless, I think, to be fair, Ginger Rage might be thinking about a pit stop soon, because he's going to be using those tyres up. He's on 17 lap old medium compound tyres, the same as Sick as Muck, the same as Vessia, and the same as Coop. Further up the order then. But Gamer is picked for the fresh medium compound tyres, sorry, and I think could be going to the end of the Grand Prix from here. Potentially, we'll have to wait and see, but we will not be sure, as we've got a problem then. It's Kiki off the circuit again then. For Kiki, he's having a horrible time out there. Back underway then, but he's dropped down to the back of the field then. Has he got any damage then to that front wing? Looks like it's intact then for Kiki, which is at least a positive point, but I think might be coming back to the pit lane then to sort out those tyres and get onto a new set of tyres as well. R2B then is trying to get that gap then over a second then to Equaz, but Equaz holding on to the DRS for the time being. In the background there is Legend and going for the move into turn 1. He's got the inside then for turn 1, up into P3 then for the Haas driver, then displacing Gordo down to P4 for the time being. Vessia then has got himself a bit of a challenge then with Hungry Styles. Then Vessia has almost lost the DRS then to the Styles, and goodness me, down the inside goes Mushroom as well then. And he's got the position, I think, as Mushroom up into P7 then. Brilliant stuff indeed. Then can he hold it? Oh dear, there's all sorts of debris then. As, oh my god, going into turn 2 now as well. Then Mushroom has got himself up into P7 now. Can he chase down Styles, who's on 1 lap older tyres than the McLaren driver? Then we'll have to find out if he can hold on then. Jinner then into turn 4, then slotting into P9, then Sick as Muck P10, Vintage P11, then Ginger Rage up into P12 now with the pit stop then for Kiki, who is onto a set of medium compound tyres, the same as Gamer then, I think, potentially going to the end of the Grand Prix on those medium compounds, as we've got Gamer then trying to get himself past Astra John then at an unorthodox place at the circuit, and almost pushing he has pushed the racing ball off the circuit there. My goodness me, then that is what you call desperate driving, let's just say that. But there we are. Fantastic. Well, that's just what we got really here at Hungary so far. So yeah, we can't really just we can't blame X Gamer. That's going to be just everybody's driving, I think. So yeah, brilliant stuff indeed. I mean, what can you do? I mean, if I could give penalties out in the Grand Prix like a proper race steward, then potentially that would be being dished out here. But unfortunately, I cannot. Yeah, it's my favourite, my famous Italian impression of I cannot. It's not even anything famous, to be fair. Into turn 1 then, Gino has taken P8 then away from the Alpine of Vessia now, and we power down then towards turn 2, and Gino up into P8 now. Mushroom then has got himself caught himself up to Styles now into the battle for P6 then with the Red Bull. Looking good so far then for Styles as well as Mushroom at this stage. Out in front then, the gap almost over a second then for R2B. Then can he get himself that 1 second gap that he would so greatly need to get Equaz out of the DRS range then into Sector 3? We go, the gap is over a second, then Reflection picks up a penalty further down the order. Then Vintage has got himself past Sick as Muck then for P10, I think. As Sick as Muck might have had an issue there, it looked like, because he seemed to be struggling then through the chicane as well then. Unfortunately then for the Ferrari driver then, but back underway very quickly indeed. Out in front, and the gap over a second now as we head into the final corner, as Equaz now is 1.2 seconds behind the race leader of R2B. Once again then R2B leading the way then on to lap 45. Then we've got 25 laps remaining of this Grand Prix from here. Gordo then is trying to get himself back into the podium places, then currently with a net podium place as he has no penalties then. Styles and Mushroom then have got himself a nice gap then to Jinner. Jinner trying to get himself back in contention, but here comes the Mushroom then on the attack then in towards turn 1, and down the inside he goes then. Has he got the position is the question, and Gamer sets the fastest lap of the race. Then Mushroom has spun the car almost, but kept it under control. Then Styles has used the traction then to get himself back through and into P6 then. Vessia and Jinner then have had a bit of shenanigans, and Jinner is off the circuit there, and looked like he almost drove into somebody then, trying to drive into somebody when you're ghosted and failing, unfortunately. But there we are. Brilliant stuff indeed. Kiki has set the fastest half of the race then. Kiki is still soldiering on out there, which is fair play to Kiki. He's got the fastest lap point as it stands as well. Then Ginger Rage now is trying to get himself into the fight. Then there he is in the background, but he's got Gamer for company. Then Gamer's on much fresher tyres, and Gamer has gone through, I think. Yes, he has then up into P12 now. And this is going to be, I can already tell you there's going to be something that's going to happen between Jinner and Gamer, and I'm going to preempt it now. We're going to watch it. So let's see. Right then, Jinner has got a 3-second penalty then for multiple track warnings as well. So that is that then. Unfortunately, Jinner, all the penalties rolling in. Then there's only 5 drivers without penalties as it stands, which is the likes of the top 2, Gordo and Hungry Styles. Then in the top 6. There we go. Then Gamer locking up then into the penultimate corner. Then is he going to get himself past the Mercedes here? Not quite. But he's going to get himself past then onto the main straight. Then he's already got himself past then onto the main straight, onto the final corner, I should say. Then goodness me, as we go down the main straight now, and Gino is trying to fight back. I'm not quite sure why, because he's been passed comfortably then by the Haas driver then, who's on much fresher tyres. And wow, thankfully, blimey, I'm impressed. We didn't see any shenanigans. Fantastic stuff indeed. So it just shows that we can do it, guys. We can do the racing without contact. We can do the racing without hitting into each other. And it can work out in everyone's favour at the same point in time then as well. Jinner has lost the car then going through turn 4, and unfortunately has ghosted. He has kept the car, has kept quite a lot of speed with that as well, to be fair, but that was pretty impressive. But unfortunately it has cost him a bit of time. But maybe he is just trying to get his composure back under the helmet then of the Mercedes car. Out in front then, 1.8 seconds the gap. Then Gordo is trying to get himself back up into the podium places on track. Then Serious Mushroom is being charged down or being held to account then by Hungry Styles. Vintage is all over the back of Vessia now, so Vintage doing a great job here, as is Sick as Muck then, and Gamer, who's joined the fight. Then Gamer, of course, is on the fresher tyres, and he's almost in the back of the Ferrari there as well, but thankfully not. Ginger Rage is trying to catch up to Jinner then, but both of them having an issue then, and Ginger Rage is coming in the pit lane, so Ginger Rage is calling it a day then on the medium compound tyres here, and that might be a very wise call indeed then from the McLaren driver, then slowing the car down into the box then for a pit stop here as well. He's going to put him down to the back of the field, but he'll be on the freshest tyres and on the grid then. Sick as Muck has been passed by Gamer. Has he yet into turn 2, and round the outside then goes the Haas. He has got the position then on those much fresher medium compound tyres, and now he's got Vessia and Vintage to try and fight through as well. Then Vintage up into P8 now, passing Vessia into the last DRS slot, the DRS gap, whatever it is. And there we go, then Gamer trying to go down the inside, and again it's not an overtaking position, but Gamer is making it an overtaking position as we go into the chicane. Then he's up into P9 now. Ginger Rage is onto old hard compound tyres. He's on 12 lap old hard compound, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there, unless that's a glitch then. Yes, nonetheless, well, I'm not sure. But we'll find out then after the race then. But potentially he can get into the Grand Prix from there very comfortably. He's going to do 22 laps then on those hard compound tyres, which will take them up to 34 laps in terms of tyre usage. But there we are then. Unfortunately, I don't think he had a new set of medium compound tyres to go onto that McLaren, it doesn't look like. So unfortunately, he's going to have to soldier on with what he's got there. Gordo has almost lost out to the DRS of Legend as it stands then. 48 laps have commenced here in Hungary. Gamer on the freshest tyres then in the top 9. Make that top 8 now as he's got past Vintage then into turn 1. Slowing the car down just in time and back on the power then quickly enough. Then he's got 4 seconds gap then back to Styles. Styles has dropped off of Mushroom then, so Mushroom then scampering away in the distance now and is looking pretty strong then in the McLaren then for some more, or some big points once again then for McLaren as it stands, that is. But of course we'll have to wait and see how the McLarens do fare in this race. Vintage then is being passed by Gamer then on to lap 48 as well then, so Vintage then trying to struggle on those older hard compound tyres compared to a Gamer's 7-lap old medium compound tyres. It's not going to be much of a contest, I don't think, at this stage of the race. Sick as Muck then trying to get himself back in the top 10, trying to get himself past Vessier here. Ginger Age then is on, he's only 4 seconds behind Kiki as it stands, but he's on much older hard compound tyres. I'm not quite sure what the decision making was there down at the McLaren, but nonetheless they will be able to enlighten us, I'm sure, later on after the race. Lap 49 of 70 then, so 21 laps to go on this one. Blimey, almost there. So that's good. But Gordon then is back in with the DRS range then of Legend then, so he's got himself recomposed then and back underway then. I think maybe had a bit of an issue then, but he seems to be not using DRS then down towards turn 2, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but nonetheless we'll crack on. Sick as Muck now is trying to get himself back into the top 10 here. Here he comes then on the attack then with Vessier then in the Alpine. Down the inside then goes the Ferrari. He's overshot the corner slightly, and Vessier trying to go for the switchback then has been cut off then by the Ferrari then, who's just parked himself in the middle of the corner then. But up into P10 then goes Sick as Muck, sorry. Jinner has got himself a battle with his teammate once again then as these two go through into turn 2 and turn 3. They're both on 17 lap old medium compound tyres, so they're going to have to work together, I think, at this stage, or not. But yes, they're going to have to, I think, both pit again as well at this stage of the race with 21 laps to go. I don't think those medium compound tyres will be making it that far in this Grand Prix, unless you want to risk a puncture, which potentially they do. You never know. But there we are then. Ginger Age then needs to get himself a move on them with those hard compound tyres. Unfortunately, I'm not quite sure what has gone on there with the strategy, but it's definitely not worked out in his favour. As of course we've got Kiki on fresh medium compound tyres. He's 4 seconds off Astrojon, his teammate. Everybody else is on 17 lap old tyres or worse. Most of them in the mid 20s. Then as we've got Gamer, then he's on the only driver then in single digits. Then he's on 8 lap old medium compound tyres as Mushroom has passed Coupe into P5. Then so Mushroom on the charge then in the McLaren. Styles then, as like I said, is on the hard compound tyres in a bit of no man's land as it stands. Gamer, like I said, is the only man in the single digits then in the top 10, that is. He's on 9 lap old medium compound tyres as we go on to lap 50 of 70 here. Fantastic. Wonderful. What a brilliant race. Right then. Right, well, it's a bit of a lull now at this point, thankfully, with the strategies then started to come into play. We're going to see, I think, some more pit stops then in the near future. Then potentially those on the hard compound tyres in the top 5 might opt to go for the soft compound tyres in the final stint of this race. We'll have to wait and see. Potentially they've got a set of mediums to put on then and go for the medium compound tyre from about here to the end of the Grand Prix. 20 laps or so on the medium compound tyre will be very doable indeed. But we will wait and see with bated breath, of course, with what they're going to do. Vessier then has lost out to Sick as Muck somewhere, and unfortunately that has demoted him out of the top 10 as it stands. Sick as Muck, though, has gone into a different part of the track, a different part of the world then on that exit of the track. So probably would have got himself a warning for that then. Reflection, and I think Jinder picked up a penalty then, didn't he? Coop is in the pit lane then, some from P6 then. Coop calling it a day then. 25 laps on the medium compound tyres for the Williams driver, and what's he going to go on to next is the question. We will find out now then as the Williams driver then parks up in the garage. And medium compound tyres going on once again then, so 19 or 20 laps to do, I should say, on those medium compound tyres. And where will he come out in the rest of the order? It will be P13, it looks like, so good stuff indeed. back underway. Then the Racing Bulls then battling away with each other. Vessier in the pit lane as well. Then he's onto a medium compound tyre. Then Ginger Age is there coming down the down the middle main straight. Sorry, he's ahead of Vessier then, but Vessier now onto fresh medium compound tyres. Will be using that rubber then to get himself as close as he can to Ginger Age in the quickest amount of time. Now the Mercedes then on the brink of the points paying positions and Reflection in the top 10. Then Sick as Muck then trying to catch up to Vintage here. Vintage has been passed by Gamer then, who's now caught up to Styles almost for that DRS, that is, as we go into lap 51 now, heading down the hill then towards sector 3 once again then. So far, so good then for 17 drivers that are still in this Grand Prix, and they are putting on a pretty good show. Unfortunately for both the Kick Saubers, then Young Lights and Lucas Percy, then no shows in this Grand Prix, and the same for Don's unfortunately had caused 2 safety cars and retired. So that was him done and dusted in this race as well very early on. But right then, here we go. The Gamer's got some DRS now on the Red Bull of Hungary Styles. Sorry, into the pits comes Jinner. Then Jinner calling it a day that he's done only 20 laps on the medium compound tyres, but he's got 18 laps to go then in this race, so potentially a new set of mediums then to the end of the Grand Prix would be doable, let's just say. There we go then, out of the pit lane he comes. Ginger Rage I think is going to get a jump on him, so is Vessier, so unfortunately Virginia's going to go down to the back of the order here and trying to get himself back underway then in this race then will be his next challenge. And yeah, there we go then, out in front then Legend is caught up to Equaz now, so Equaz is under a bit of pressure now from the Haas driver as we go through into sector 3 on lap 52, and unfortunately with Legend he's got that penalty that's going to be added into his race time, which is going to be very costly indeed then if he can't get himself a nice gap then over the likes of Gordo and the likes of Equaz himself as well, if he does overtake the Williams, as we head on to lap 53. As I called it, very nice, perfect timing. Cooper's got himself past Rocket Lee. Rocket Lee's off the circuit then. He's having a problem then on those hard compound tyres, trying to get himself back underway. Then he has got himself back underway, thankfully, but unfortunately off the circuit then at that chicane is not being his best friend then tonight. Then Reflection now all over the back then of Sick as Muck then for that P9 position, then locking up the tyres quite a lot then is Reflection as we head into the probably the dying embers of the stint then for those medium compound tyres. But Sick as Muck's done 27 laps then on those mediums. Gamer's been passed, sorry, Styles has been passed by Gamer and up into P6 now for the Haas driver, then powering on then on those newer medium compound tyres. Can they get to the end of the Grand Prix is the question. Reflection and Sick as Muck then into turn 1 as well, then heading round the outside goes the Mercedes, and the Ferrari holds position for the time being. Here comes Reflection then back on the attack, then going around the outside at turn 2. Can he hold this position this time? They round into turn 3 then. Can he hold the inside for turn 3? Then it's going to be close indeed between the two of them. There's contact. No, there isn't between the two of them. Then fantastic stuff indeed. We were expecting worse, but there we go then. Reflection up into P9. Brilliant overtake then as well. Then Sick as Muck unfortunately picks up a penalty going through turn 4 then. That's compounded his race as well. Then we'll have a look at the penalty situation in just a jiffy. Legend now as Ginger Age picked up a penalty as well, just as I say that. So fantastic stuff indeed. Right then, Ginger Age is trying to catch up to Vessier. Vessier's now, I think, got past him. Then he's on the much fresher medium compound tyres, as will Ginner be as well. Then unfortunately Ginger Age is not going his way on those old hard compound tyres. It's very odd that the McLaren team decided to put those old tyres on the McLaren in that pit stop phase, but nonetheless they have done that. And now Legend has passed Equaz for P2 and has got himself up into the higher echelons of the podium, 4 seconds behind the race win here as well as it stands. But looking good so far then for the Haas driver then as well. Then both the Haas's are looking pretty strong out there as well. X-Gamer trying to drop Hungry Styles then from his DRS window as we go into lap 54 now, locking up though with that inside left then is not going to be good for those tyres. But nonetheless, he is in control of the car. He can do what he wants. So there we go. Right then, Vessier and Astra John have passed each other. Then Jimmy sets the fastest lap of the race. Then here he comes then on the inside of Ginger Age up into turn 1. Then he's got the move. Then has Ginger Age flying through there, coming back at him, but not quite enough of the speed. Then unfortunately for the McLaren as we head into turn 2 now as well. Then Vessier up into P14. So we're going to have to watch the progress then of Coupe. Then we're going to have to watch the progress of Vessier. We're going to have to watch the progress of Ginner because they are on very fresh tyres and definitely are going to be using the most benefit then of those fresh tyres to the end of the Grand Prix from here. We might see some stops then for the likes of Reflection for Sick as Muck as well. Then both the Red Bulls on the old hard compound tyres. Gamer might be able to try and push to the end of the race, and we'll have to wait and see. And then the top 5 are on old, or 30 lap almost old hard compound tyres with 15 laps remaining here in this Grand Prix. Can the softs do 15 laps is the question. We'll find out. And there we go. Right then, we've got all action down the back of the field at this point. At this point, I should say. Then now Coop then in a battle then with the Ferrari of Sick as Muck as we head through the final corner. There's yellow flags fluttering for somebody, and I think it might have been Kiki then who's had a problem there at the penultimate corner. He's in the pit lane. There's Kiki. Unfortunately, I think that's Kiki's race not going his way. He's got 11 laps on the medium compound tyres and into the pit lane now, so potentially we'll be fitting a new set of boots onto that Racing Bull car then and back underway then. Yeah, like I said, unfortunately Ginger Rage has just not gone his way with that strategy call. Then he needed to go for maybe go a bit longer and then go onto the soft compound tyres or something like that instead, but I couldn't tell you because I wouldn't know what tyre he's got. So, yeah, there we are. Equaz now is dropped down to P3, but he's holding on to Legend's DRS zone to try and pull himself along. Then Coop now is up into P10 then, and now trying to put the pressure on the Mercedes of Reflection as we go into Sector 2. My goodness me, then I thought he was going to go for a lunge there, and that was going to end very badly indeed, but almost went into the back of the Mercedes instead. But there we go. As we head through into Sector 3 now as well, then Coop then being held up a bit then by the Mercedes as we head through this part of the circuit now, and down the inside he's going to go, and we've got a yellow flag for a Alpine. It's not the Alpine of Vessia, so it's the Alpine of Rocket Lee, unfortunately, struggling then 30 laps on those hard compound tyres. I think they are done and dusted. Then it's time to pit then and get on a new set of boots then, I think, in my opinion. But what do I know? Reflection has called it a day then. He has called it a day on the medium compound tyres. He's into the box now, calling it time then, and I think he's got 14 laps remaining here in this race, I should say, and is opting for the soft compound tyres. So there we go then. A few drivers then I think might opt for the soft compound tyres in this final stint, and Reflection is the first of them then, down to P13, down to P15 as Ginger Age and Astrodron have gone through. Then Ginger Age has got himself past the Racing Bull then into turn 1 and trying to charge on then as Rocket Lee has pit and quit then. So unfortunately we've only got 16 runners left in this session now. Goodness me. Right, then out in front, and then 5 seconds the gap then for R2 Beat, who is quite comfortable at this stage, but potentially might be thinking about when he might be pitting then for the new soft compound tyres. I might imagine. Then we'll have to wait and see. Equaz then is holding station then in P3 for the time being, maybe saving some energy. Then Gordo's in the pit lane. Gordo's calling it then from P4 and maybe making a bit of a struggle then for the top 3. Then if he goes onto a set of soft compound tyres, he might have a very, very quick outlap here, and that could be very costly indeed if he gets a nice undercut then on the 3 ahead of him. Then soft compound tyres going on the Aston Martin. Serious Mushroom goes through for P4. Gamer goes through for P5. And Hungry Styles will go through for P6, I think. Well, where is he? There he is. There is Gordo coming out of the pit lane now. He's going to be ahead of Vintage and ahead of Coop. Then into the pits comes Sick as Muck. He's done 32 laps on those medium compound tyres. Goodness me. Cooper's got himself past Vintage and 6 laps on his medium compound tyres for the Williams. And now on the charge then, but Gordo's come out ahead of him then on the soft compound tyres. Sick as Muck then is fitting the medium compound tyres to that Ferrari and back underway. Ginger Age now up into P12 and looking pretty good in here in this one, because I think there might be some stops still to come then for drivers ahead of Ginger Age, and potentially if he can hold on then to the points paying positions, he can get himself some more points on the board for himself and the McLaren team. Well, that's the idea, isn't it? So there we go. So right. Equaz then is the closest battle on track then with P2 man Legend as it stands then. Of course, penalty situation is not looking too good for some drivers. Then 3 seconds for Legend, 3 for Serious Mushroom and 3 for Gamer. Currently, Mushroom and Gamer then wouldn't lose out positions at all as it stands then. Coop Vintage would hold station as well, then P8 and P9. Then Vessia would hold station in P10. I think. Yes, he would. Ginger Age, unfortunately, has got 9 seconds, and so he's going to have to. He would jump Jinner as it stands. Then he's only got 2 seconds. He needs to keep that gap then between himself and Jinner at under 3 seconds. Astrodron will gain 2 places on those 2 drivers as well. Then, unfortunately, demoting them down the order by 1 position. Then Reflection 6 seconds. Same for Sick as Muck, and same for Kiki as well. Right then, soft compound tyres then on the Aston Martin of Gordo. Then could this be a good strategy then from the Aston Martin driver? We've seen that Reflection get himself past Astrodron then on the soft compound tyres. Gordo now in within DRS range then of the Styles, of the Red Bull of Styles, I should say. But there we go. Then lap 58 then of 70. Then 12 laps remaining at the end of this one. Purple for Gordo into Sector 2, and Gordo now all over the back then of the Red Bull as we go through turn 5 as well here. But unfortunately, he's going to be a bit held up then into Sector 2 then with the old old hard compound tyres, 33 lap old hard compound tyres then on the Red Bull, then compared to his 1 lap old soft compound tyres. Yellow flags for Astra John, who's had an issue at turn 2, I think. Trying to get himself back in the way. He's lost a bit of front wing, then that right end plate is missing then on that Racing Bull, unfortunately. And again, he's on very old hard compound tyres, so I don't think they're going to be at their best performance, and their peak performance, let's just say, as we go through the last few laps here as well. Then as Kiki's got to be very careful of his teammate here, very wary of his teammate. Then into turn 5 then, and he has got himself through and up into P15, I should say. Gordo's got himself past Styles now as we head on to lap 59. Who's got the DRS, though, is the question. Neither of them, it looks like, so never mind. But yes, there we are. Then Vintage in the pit lane. So Vintage calling it a day then. 34 laps on the hard compound tyre. Yellow flag again then. It's for, this time it's for Kiki then. So both the Racing Bulls having incidents on the previous sectors then, it looks like. Back underway for Kiki then. Into the pits comes Vintage. Then Vintage calling it a day then on his hard compound tyres. Going for medium compound tyres then is Vintage. Where will he rejoin then? He will rejoin down in P13 as Reflection has gone through as well. Then Ginger Rage up into P11 now, but I think his hard compound tyres might be getting a bit too worse for wear. Then towards the end of the Grand Prix, he's going to have to do another 11 laps at least on them, and that's going to take to 35 laps old, which we've seen some drivers already pitting then before that on their hard compound tyres. So we'll have to wait and see if Ginger Rage can do some magic then and whisper to those tyres to get them to the end of the Grand Prix. We will wait and see. Right out in front, it doesn't look like the top four yet want to pit then at this point. Gamer then has done 18 laps on his medium compound tyres, has got himself within 3 seconds now of the Mushroom. Gordo is on 2 lap old soft compound tyres, so I think he will be flying along very quickly indeed in the next few laps or so, then trying to get himself back up into that P4 position. Gino has got himself into the fight then for the final points paying position as well. Then Gordo sets the fastest lap of the race. That will be an extra point for himself and the Aston Martin team. So far so good then out in front, as we got more action then with soft compound tyres. Reflection now all over the back of the Ginger Rage for that P11 position then, and he's just outside the top 10 positions as well as Reflection, but he's got 6 seconds to try and find then in the next 10 laps. Can he do it? We will find out. Gino has passed Vessia then into, goodness me, into turn 1. Gino has got himself past the Alpine, I think with some DRS assistance, has he? Yes, he's got the inside now for turn 2. And again, like I said, he's got himself through comfortably. Brilliant stuff indeed. Reflection into P11, then passing Ginger Rage with some DRS assistance into turn 1 this time. Has got the move on the McLaren. And up into P11, then Vessia dropping down to P10 for the time being as well then. Like I said, potentially we might see some worried faces in the top of the order then with Styles and the top four then all on 35 lap old hard compound tyres. And yeah, I'm not quite sure if the hard compound tyres can do the whole race like they could in Silverstone last week, but yes, but I'm not sure the drivers will be too happy with this situation as well. Then we'll have to wait and see. Here comes Gordo then on the attack. Then can he get himself past Gamer then into turn 1 then for P5 I should say. Then yes he can. He's got the DRS then a wing wide open then for the Aston Martin up into P5 into the braking zone of turn 1. He's got the move then up into P5. Then he's got a 3-second gap now to Mushroom, sorry, for that P4 position. Brilliant. Right then, Vessia then has lost out then to the DRS, I think, then to Ginner then, so he's dropped down out of 1 second then, unfortunately, for the Alpine driver. Ginger Rage is dropped out of Reflection's DRS as well, then 5 seconds the gap for Reflection to get himself into the top 10 then, with Vessia his next target as well then, as we go through into Sector 2 then on lap 61 here of 70. So the laps ticking down then again. I still don't think the top 4 are aware that they could have pitted about 5 laps ago and potentially gone into a set of soft compound tyres and been a lot more comfortable at the end of the Grand Prix than they will be potentially on those old hard compound tyres at the checkered flag. If they're going to go to the final lap then on these hard compound is going to be the question, but will they be competitive is the other question as well then, because if Gordo is pitted for fresh soft compound tyres and is flying along at this pace, and as Kiki sets the fastest lap of the race as it stands as well, then Gordo might be in contention then for even better than just a podium place then, as it stands. We might see even better than from the Aston Martin of Gordo then with those soft compound tyres on that green machine. Coupe now all over the back of Hungary Styles as we go onto the main straight, sorry. heading down towards turn 1 then, and this time Cooper's got the DRS then in towards turn 1 then. Has he got the position is the question. Styles goes late on the brakes then into turn 1, trying to go around the outside, trying to hold it around the outside again on traction, but Cooper's got the power then, he's got the traction as well then on the fresher medium compound tyres, and is up into P7 now as well, charging on in the Williams car. Fantastic stuff indeed. Rightio then, as reflection now 4.5 seconds off the top 10 as it stands then. Hungary Styles then dropping down behind the Williams of Coupe at this point as well then. Equaz trying to hold on to the Haas of Legend then for B2 as it stands then into sector 3 then to finish off lap 62 as they've got a ghost car then of a Kick Sauber then. It's not Kick Sauber, goodness me, the Kick Saubers didn't bother turning up today. No, it's a Racing Bull then. I think it's Astra John then who's got a bit of wing damage then, that right end plate missing then for the Racing Bull, and that is going to be costly indeed. And if he can't, if he doesn't come in the pit lane and repair that, potentially he can go for a fastest lap point at the end of the Grand Prix as well. Then Equaz then is caught up to the back of Legend then for the time being. As it stands, then Sick as Muck now is trying to catch up to Vintage. Both of these drivers are pitted for fresh medium compound tyres in the previous 5 laps or so, and now on a charge. Then Ginger Rage might have to come into the pits and go for the fastest lap point in this race to be able to get himself a point on the board then. But we will find out what he's going to be doing then in the next few laps or so. 63 of 70 then as we cruise then into the twilight zone of this Grand Prix. Only 7 laps remaining at the end of this one as we go through the sector 2 chicane once again then for the 63rd time, as flying through then is Equaz then trying to keep up the pressure then on Legend out in front. The gap is quite steady then between R2 Beat and the Haas car of Legend, then it's 5.2 seconds. It has been quite similar over the last few laps or so. Movements down the back of the field then. Sick as Muck and Vintage are switching places then in towards turn 1 and 2. Then Sick as Muck with some DRS then has got himself past the Red Bull into turn 2, then up into P13 and underway. Then there is Ginger Age in the foreground. Then he is only 1.5 seconds ahead of the Red Bull and Ferrari, goodness me, pair as we go into turn 4 and 5 then onto lap 64 now for the race leaders. Here comes Gordo, and Gordo is all over the back now of Mushroom as we go into their lap 65 as well. Then around the final corner then Gordo is going to have a lot more grip, a lot more speed then on those soft compound tyres, and I think is already going to go side by side before they get to the start finish line. Then yes, he has done, up into P4 then for the Aston Martin, then back up into P4 I should say then as well after pitting then for the soft compound. 7 laps done on those soft compound tyres as well then. Good stuff indeed. Vintage trying to hold on to Sick as Muck, trying to get himself pulled along. There was some DRS then in this next lap or two. Then I think Serious Mushroom might be in a bit of a speck of bother trying to keep up with that DRS then on the Aston Martin of Gordo, because Gordo's on much fresher tyres. Then I think it will sprint away, especially in sector 2, with the extra grip that he's got on those soft compound tyres compared to 38 lap old hard compound tyres, which Mushroom is on. But he's done a fantastic job of getting them through this stint. Well, all the drivers are doing a fantastic job in this stint as well. Even Ginger Rage, I could say. Astrodron and Kiki then are battling away. Then Kiki and his teammate are in a fight. Then looks like as oh dear, what is going on there? Not quite sure, but nonetheless they are fighting. Yes, I'm not sure Kiki has realised that his teammate's got a bit of damage there, but nonetheless they're carrying on as well. Then so is Astrodron then, so he's going to carry on to the next lap as well. Airquaz then as the top 3 have started off lap 65. Goodness me, there's 5 and a bit laps to go in this Grand Prix. I'm literally think I'm falling asleep as I stand here. But yes, we will not due to the action that is, because it's just due to me not having any sleep the night before. But I will power through then to lap 70, hopefully at least, and we will get there as quickly as possible. But right then, out in front, I think the top 3 have wrapped themselves up then quite comfortably, because they've got a 16-second gap then back to Gordo in P4, and unfortunately I don't think that's going to be touched then in this last 5 laps, unless there's punctures then for those on the hard compound tyres, goodness me. But they will have to be very severe indeed then to be losing out that much time as well then. So we'll find out then in the next few laps or so then, but it looks like they're quite happy as it stands. We've got more yellow flags then for Astrodron, who's had an issue. Then he's done 40 laps then on these, same as the top 3 actually. almost 40 laps then on these hard compound tyres then, which is quite a stretch indeed, let's just say that then. But there we are. The race leader then starts off lap 66 here as well then, so 5 laps remaining, sorry, at the end, well, from this one now I should say, thank goodness me. So here comes Equaz then once again on the attack then, 40 laps then for those three at the top of the field then. That is a pretty mammoth stint indeed then for the hard compound tyres regardless then, as is Mushrooms then. Mushrooms done 40 laps as well now, so has Styles. Ginger Age has done 30 laps, and Astrodron has done 40 laps as well then. So goodness me, the tyre life is definitely racking up then around here. I think they're paying for their own tyres, that's why they're not wanting to come in the pit lane. Yeah, that is that then. So far so good. Mushroom then is trying to catch up back to Gordo, but unfortunately dropped out that 1 second window. Then Equaz is Equaz, Sick as Muck and Vintage then our closest battle on track then. Unfortunately for Ginger Age, he's been caught by both the Red Bull of Vintage and the Ferrari of Sick as Muck here as we go into the final corner, and that could get dangerous indeed. Reflections passing Vessia then for P10, then Reflection up into the top 10 now. Here comes Sick as Muck then on the Papaya McLaren then of Ginger Age and into P12, then down the inside. Vintage waiting in the wings, then Vintage looking for a move as well down the inside as well on the power. Then Vintage has got the move as well into P13, and Ginger Age dropping down to P14 here, unfortunately. I have to say unfortunately, because otherwise he will spank me. I don't know. But there we go. Right then, out in front then, lap 67 has commenced here, and now still the fight then for the final podium place for P2 and P3. Gordo is too far back, unfortunately, then, and Serious Mushroom is trying to hold on to the coattails then of that Aston Martin, but looking still for a good result here on the hard compound tyre for 41 laps now. Coop might be in the fight as well, potentially with some more points on the board then, if he can catch up then using the extra tyre life in those medium compound tyres that he's got another 3 laps to do on in this race. Hungry Styles then is doing a great job. He's P8 for the time being, no penalties for him unless I've jinxed it, which I probably have now, sorry. So there we go. And Vessia then trying to get himself back into the top 10, trying to get himself back past Reflection for that final points paying position, I should say. Goodness me. Brilliant. Well, fantastic stuff indeed then. Astrodron unfortunately has been lapped, I think, then, so that is why he is ghosted then. So has the McLaren, I think. No, that's not a McLaren, that's a Mushroom. So that's I think that Mushroom's definitely on lead lap so far, so that's all right. So there we go then. But I think that is actually Gordo, Mushroom, and then Gamer catching up then as well, then, as is Coop as well in the Williams car, then P7 for the time being. Where is the rest of the fights and going on then? Goodness me, Vessia then once again resuming his debut lag as Vintage now all over the back then of Sick as Muck then into turn 4, but not quite close enough then as we head on to lap 68 now of 70 then. So 3 laps to go here in this Grand Prix. 5 drivers, sorry, without any penalties at the moment, and that is R2 Beat then in P1, Equaz in P3, so he would gain a position then on Legend then for that P2 position. Of course, the championship leader then is Equaz, then he's in a fight with R2 Beat and with Gordo as Vessia has retired. And what's happened to Vessia's car then? It seems to have just driven off the circuit there, so that is interesting. So yes, Vessia then retiring on track then unfortunately is going to be costly indeed. He's joined again, but I'm not quite sure what's happened there at all. But Vessia out of the Grand Prix on lap 68 then of 70. I'm not sure what has happened there because he's maybe just got booted out of the session then, but unfortunately we can't do much about that, and we're not restarting the race. Let's just put it that way. Well, I'm not, but of course if you want to, you can do that yourselves. But I'm going to be going to bed, I think, after this one straight away. Equaz then is just waiting the wings end lap 69. Giggity is going to start very soon, and we have got the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix coming up then very shortly now as well, as Gordon then is 16 seconds behind. Then Serious Mushroom is caught up then. Serious Mushroom's tyres then maybe have gone through a grading phase now and are working wonders then on 42 lap old hard compound compared to Gordo's 11 lap old softs then. So it seems like the hard compound tyre is still better. X Game has picked up a penalty and I'm not sure that's going to be too costly for him. Astrodron picked up a penalty as well then, unfortunately for him. Then Kiki is in the pit lane then to get himself sorted out with a new set of tyres and going to go for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Kiki is lapped, so I'm not quite sure. Serious Mushroom has got himself past Gordo, then into P4. Then has he? Oh, goodness me, has he? Yeah. So Serious Mushroom then up into P4, passes Gordo then in the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Then we'll come back to that. We're not going to sit on board with R2B because we haven't seen R2B for most of this Grand Prix, and R2B then is going to cruise around Hungary then for one final lap. Then as Vintage and Sick as Muck then switching places as well. Then further down the order, but R2B then is cruising into Sector 3 then to finish off Sector 3 for the penultimate lap then, and start off lap 70 of 70 and finish off this Grand Prix once and for all then, as we finish off this race for the full distance and 70 laps around this Grand Prix, this Hungarian Grand Prix, that is Hungaroring, of course, which is a famous F1 circuit now with lots of technical difficulties, let's just say it. Technical difficulties in terms of technical challenges, I should say, but these drivers who've got to themselves to, or will get themselves to the checkered flag, then they've done a fantastic job of this event then so far. So R2B then cruising into turn 2 and 3 now as well, then coming up the hill, then down the hill, then up the hill to turn 4, then into Sector 2 here, and looking good indeed then is the R2B in the Aston Martin, then once again with a very calm, clean and controlled Grand Prix from the Aston Martin's driver's point of view, that is, and very comfortable then in the latter stages as well, then just keeping the gap steady then to the likes of Equaz, the likes of Legend, then as those two have been battling as well then at various stages of the race. And now just cruising, having a nice little Sunday or Wednesday drive, I should say, then through the Hungaroring then to finish off lap 70 here of 70, and now into Sector 3 then for the final time. Then here's the green machine then coming through into the penultimate corner then to finish off the final lap of the Grand Prix. Here is R2B then cruising around the final couple of corners then to claim the victory here for Aston Martin and claim the victory for himself here at Hungary. Then a fantastic race win indeed then for R2B, who crosses the line, 45 laps on the hard compound tyres. What a stint indeed. Then he crosses the line to claim the victory here for in Hungary. Brilliant stuff indeed. Then Equaz, the championship leader, then P2 in the end. Brilliant stuff from Equaz as well then to keep the, or minimise the risk then, minimise the damage then to R2B in the championship standings. And of course, keep the Aston Martin and Williams fight then for the constructors alive as well. Then brilliant stuff from Equaz as well. Then P2, then Legend P3 with the penalty. Then unfortunately demoted and down to P3 with that 3-second penalty as well. Then Kiki sets the fastest out of the race. Then Gordo P4, Serious Mushroom in P5, Coop P6, and Gamer in P7 with the penalty situations for those two as well. Then Jinner then in P8. Then I think he's going to be ahead of Styles then on track then, but not in terms of penalties. Styles then gets P8. Then Jinner P9. Reflection all across the line, and P10 then nope, as Hoops retired then, so never mind the Vintage. Unfortunately, I think unfortunately they won't be classified that way around. So yes, well, goodness me, whatever's happened there, we'll just deal with it after the race. Yeah, so thanks for that. So yeah, brilliant stuff indeed. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be doing podium interviews tonight. Then I am too tired to be doing those. There we are then. So fantastic race indeed then, fantastic stuff indeed for those who finished the Grand Prix. What a race then for the halfway point then of the 100% season. Then we'll be back in next week in Belgium, I believe. There is your podium sitters then for the Belgian Grand Prix. Brilliant stuff indeed then to R2B, then our race winner, for of course for Equaz in P2 in the Williams then, and Legend then P3 in the Haas. So fantastic stuff from those drivers who got themselves the podium. Then fantastic stuff from the drivers who got themselves to the checkered flag. And we will be with you next week then in Belgium then for another exciting lap, exciting 44 laps then of the Belgian Grand Prix in a week's time then. But of course, coming up then on ALR, I've got gold here in Hungary then on Sunday night, then a silver on Monday night as well here, and then we've got bronze on Tuesday night before the 100% League in Belgium next Wednesday. There are your classifications then for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Then R2B, your race winner, Equaz in P2, Legend in P3 in the end there as well. Then a brilliant podium there as well from those drivers. We'll quickly just get a screenshot then of the classification so that I can get that sorted after the race as well. And there we are then, Ginger Age unfortunately just outside the top 10. But there we are then, brilliant stuff indeed. So that'll be it from me then. Thank you very much for joining us as well then. We'll see you very soon for more ALR action, and we'll thank you very much. We'll see you soon.